Chapter 872. They're back. Kong Feiling has appeared. Figures flashed across the black stage, and they only stopped after several breaths. Zhao Feng scanned over them. About half of the 10,000 Sacred Clans group had returned, and there were around 40 to 50 people in total. The leader, Kong Feiling, wore a beautiful dress and had a powerful aura. Zhao Feng found that Kong Feiling was much stronger than when they first entered the Divine Illusion dimension, both in terms of true yuan and bloodline aura. However, Kong Feiling was still half a step away from the Void God realm. Apart from that, Old Fei, Lu Tianfan, Huang Yunhu, and even Senior Marshal Brother Guang, whom Zhao Feng was familiar with, were also present. It's good that you're back. King Lu Yun sighed as his gaze landed on his disciples. His personal disciple and his in-name disciple, Senior Marshal Brother Guang, were still present. No one has become a king. Although a few Origin Core Realm disciples have broken through, they're far from being able to compare to Zhao Feng. The kings and elders present discussed in a low tone. It wasn't hard to see that the 10,000 Sacred Clans group wasn't doing very well. Most of the geniuses and elites were tired and ruffled, and a small number of them were severely injured. For example, Old Fei had a broken leg and was using a walking stick. Zhao Feng understood that fortune wasn't something that everyone could find. Even if they did, they might not have the ability to grasp it. Xianyang Palace's fortune was great, but how many kings and quasi-kings had died there? For those that were weak, not meeting Xianyang Palace might be a blessing. Zhao Feng. The returning kings all looked toward the purple-haired youth sitting cross-legged on the ground. Compared to them, Zhao Feng's progress was too big. Their gazes were filled with hatred, jealousy, respect, and other emotions. Zhao Feng. Old Fei gritted his teeth and had a complicated expression. If you hadn't left the group and helped us, we wouldn't have been in such a pitiful state in the Divine Illusion dimension. Zhao Feng fell into a brief moment of silence. In reality, Old Fei didn't question or hate Zhao Feng. He only blamed, complained, and vented, why didn't Zhao Feng help us at the right time? In the underground city. The strength and methods that Zhao Feng displayed were already shocking. If he stayed in the group, he would be of great help to the 10,000 Sacred Clan. When the 10,000 Sacred Clan conquered one or two ancient ruins, they were just a sliver away from success. Because they failed, they suffered heavy losses. Zhao Feng. If you hadn't left the team, Senior Sister Yun, Junior Brother Chen, they might not have died. Zhao Feng. Because of your own selfish desires, you left the team and brought disaster upon us. The returning elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan questioned in an unfriendly tone. Some of the enraged people almost charged forward and started a fight, but they were stopped by some nearby sect members. Stop. Silence. King Lu Yun and the others immediately stopped them. The severely injured Elder Wu was a perfect example of how terrifying Zhao Feng's strength was. This was already the case for King Tears. If it were these geniuses and elites, a single sneeze from Zhao Feng would be enough to take their lives. Zhao Feng, I don't hate you. We can only blame ourselves for not being strong enough and having bad luck. However, as a member of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, you didn't do your job. Old Fei smiled bitterly as he leaned on his walking stick, looking desolate. Hearing this, the surviving geniuses and elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan all became silent. They couldn't completely blame Zhao Feng. If they were strong enough, it wouldn't matter if there was one more or one less Zhao Feng. Heaven and earth will destroy us if we don't look out for ourselves. Junior Brother Zhao, I don't blame you, but I'm slightly disappointed in you. Lu Tianfan laughed mockingly. His body was covered in injuries, and half of one of his ears had been bitten off by an unknown beast. After a long silence, Zhao Feng finally spoke, just pretend that I'm still the average Zhao Feng. Hearing this, everyone paused. If the original Zhao Feng was still here, he probably wouldn't even have the right to enter the divine illusion dimension. The purple-haired youth in front of them was miles away from the original Zhao Feng in terms of aura and strength. Zhao Feng didn't have much of a sense of belonging to the 10,000 sacred clan. The reason he helped the Yunling Zhao family was to fulfill some of the wishes of the original Zhao Feng. Furthermore, my fortune came from chasing after the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and going through a lot of danger. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and started to reminisce. The dangerous scenes in the divine illusion dimension seemed to appear in front of his eyes. Chasing after the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The returning geniuses and elites of the 10,000 sacred clan exclaimed. The expressions of Kong Feiling, Old Fei, Lu Tianfan, and company changed dramatically, and they couldn't help but take in a cold breath. This Zhao Feng was too bold. He dared to chase after the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Sky Suspension Palace, Nine Darkness Palace, the Great Ghan Imperials, Sky Sword Pavilion, the 8 Big Families. Countless kings and quasi-kings died in Xiayang Palace. Zhao Feng sighed. There were too many kings and quasi-kings that died in Xiayang Palace. 3-star forces, peak 3-star forces, and even 4-star superpowers came out of Zhao Feng's mouth. At this moment, everyone was silent. They could imagine how intense that battle was. Furthermore, these rumors would spread across the entire world of cultivation and the upper echelon of the Great Ghan Lord dynasty. The weakest of the geniuses that entered Xiayang Palace are at Kong Feiling's level. Old Fei, do you want me to bring the 10,000 sacred clans group into the abyss? Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. The hearts of Old Fei and company shook, and they were speechless. They wouldn't dare to chase after the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon even if they had 100 guts. Those 3-star and 4-star forces that they were all familiar with weren't something they could be compared to. Only Zhao Feng would be able to do as he pleased after leaving the group. Furthermore, Zhao Feng was already dead, and Zhao Feng was just using this chance to step onto the continent zone stage. Humph. What you said can only be confirmed after a period of time when the people from the other sects send news. A cold harumph broke the silence. The person who spoke was the heavily injured Elder Wu. Next to Elder Wu, the peak-tier King Elder Yin's gaze scanned the crowd. His expression was extremely ugly, and he didn't say anything for a long time. Elder Yin, what's wrong? Did your last disciple not come out of the divine illusion dimension? King Lu Yun felt that something was wrong. The expression on Elder Yin's face was very strange. At this moment in time, no new figures appeared on the black stage. If everything was as expected, those that didn't appear had definitely died in the divine illusion dimension. Junior Marshal Brother Wang died to a mutated venomous Spider King. Kong Feiling, Lu Tianfan, and company had dim expressions. The junior Marshal Brother Wang they were talking about was obviously Elder Yin's last disciple. After confirming that this was bad news, Elder Yin's body started to tremble, and his eyes started to turn red as he tried to suppress the anger and unwillingness in his heart. It was obvious that Elder Yin had invested a lot of feelings into this last disciple of his. Shao, the heavens are unfair. Elder Yin roared into the sky as killing intent flashed through his red eyes as he stared at Zhao Feng, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Why was that youth that left the group and was cursed by everyone able to obtain so many things in the divine illusion dimension, while his last disciple ended up in such a pitiful state? Zhao Feng. This elder said that if anything happens to my last disciple in the divine illusion dimension, I will hold you responsible. A surge of magnificent power surged toward Zhao Feng. Elder Yin. Calm down. King Lu Yun and company immediately tried to stop him, but Elder Yin's cultivation had reached the peak-tier king realm, and his spatial domain had almost materialized. With a bam, he pushed away the other two kings that tried to stop him. Everyone, leave. Kong Feiling, Old Fei, and company saw that the situation wasn't right and quickly retreated from the black stage. Zhao Feng didn't want to drag these innocent people down with him, so he continued to sit on the stage and stared coldly at Elder Yin, who was filled with killing intent. "Brat! Do you know your crimes?" Elder Yin waved his hand, and a dark red hand appeared above Zhao Feng's head. He didn't lose his cool in front of everyone. He needed a valid reason to attack Zhao Feng, and there was indeed something wrong with Zhao Feng. And Zhao Feng did have some clues. He had left the team and acted on his own, which was a violation of the sex rules. If you want to attack, then do it. There's no need to waste words. I still need to go back and cultivate. Zhao Feng slowly stood up under the pressure of the illusory hand. In an instant, golden and blue lines appeared on Zhao Feng's body, and he seemed to become a diamond as his body expanded. Pang! An invisible, tyrannical force knocked Elder Yin's illusory hand away, causing the nearby mountain gate to tremble. You should be punished for your crimes. Elder Yin shouted in shock and anger. He slapped the air with one palm, and a dark crystal spatial domain that was almost solid appeared around his body. The dark red illusory hand burst out with dazzling light. Rumble! In an instant, the nearby mountain gate began to collapse and rumble due to the aftershocks of the aftershocks. The anger of a peak-tier king forced the other kings to retreat, and Elder Wu, who had been injured earlier, revealed a look of joy. Fuck off! Zhao Feng punched back and circulated his sacred lightning body. A wave of golden-blue physical force spread and crackled with lightning. However, just the sacred lightning body alone wasn't enough to deal with a peak-tier king. Boom! A glass-like flame suddenly appeared around Zhao Feng's body, and a scorching aura shot toward Elder Yin's hand and spatial domain. Bam! Boom! From afar, it was as if a blazing blood-colored sun was giving off a blinding light that dyed heaven and earth red. Cracks instantly appeared in Elder Yin's spatial domain. What a terrifying Fire Dao bloodline! The nearby kings tried to dissolve some of the remaining power, and their bloodlines felt like they were being burned. The bloodlines of the clan members further away started to tremble instinctively, and the weaker ones covered their heads and knelt on the ground. They felt as if they were being devoured by the fire, and they didn't even have the ability to run. Boom! Bam! In the air, Elder Yin's figure was pushed back several hundred yards as he suppressed his boiling blood. As he was pushed back, a layer of blood-colored flames appeared on his body, and he couldn't put it out easily. What? What's going on? Elder Yin was shocked. When he exchanged blows with Zhao Feng just now, he could feel his yuan qi and blood flowing away. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's figure faintly shook as he felt wisps of warmth return to his body. His mental energy became stronger, and the tiredness he felt from Xia Yang Palace was completely gone. Chapter 873. Boom! Boom! Just as Zhao Feng pushed Elder Yin back, in the air above a mountain in the northern part of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, this bloodline aura, could it be the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline that only appeared once in the past? An elder in dark red battle robes suddenly sensed it, and his body shook. He couldn't control the excitement and shock on his face. A divine light that shook heaven and earth flashed in his eyes. In that instant, the intent of fire in heaven and earth spun around him, and the dominating aura of an emperor made countless beings within 1,000 miles suffocate, as if they were in a hell of fire. In terms of aura, this elder in dark red battle robes was close to Duanmu Qing from the true martial sacred land. That direction is the 10,000 sacred clan. The elder in dark red battle robes' divine sense spun, and a detailed map appeared in the dimension of his soul. On the map, he was currently near the Zhao clan of the Yunling Mountains. Following Zhao Feng's rise, the Yunling Mountains were now ruled by the Zhao clan. Even the powerful Luo family didn't dare to interfere. At the gates of the 10,000 sacred clan, what a terrifying Fire Dao bloodline! Many experts near the black stage exclaimed, and their bloodlines started to tremble uneasily. At this moment, the gates nearby were dyed red. Zhao Feng's body became taller, and he was like a miniature giant that was burning with a blood-colored sun. He gave off a power that seemed to be able to destroy everything. Through the perfect combination of the sacred lightning body and the mutated blood devil sun bloodline, Zhao Feng pushed back Elder Yin, who was a peak-tier king. The spectating kings were dazed, and their jaws dropped to the ground. Elder Yin was one of the rare peak-tier kings of the 10,000 sacred clan, and he was rarely matched against anyone below the emperor level. This bloodline is very weird. Elder Yin put out the flames on his body, and he could clearly feel the life force within his body fading away. After the battle in the divine illusion dimension, Zhao Feng's understanding and usage of the mutated blood devil sun bloodline had reached a whole new level. The mutated blood devil sun bloodline was extremely forceful, and it had the ability to corrode and ignite. As for the strange ability of blood sucking, it was the last to be born. The other side. Zhao Feng's originally tired face recovered a little, and there was even a hint of redness on it. Although Zhao Feng hadn't experienced any major battles in Xiayang Palace, he had been tortured for several months, and he had almost died, so he wasn't in a good state. Only a few observant people noticed the completely different changes in Zhao Feng and Elder Yin. Among them was Elder Yin, who had personally experienced it. Old fool! Take another punch from me. Zhao Feng laughed loudly as he circulated his sacred body in blood devil sun body. He was like a flaming golden mountain as he pressed down on Elder Yin with a terrifying pressure. Elder Yin's body sank as he recovered from the shock brought about by Zhao Feng's bloodline. Now that he was so close, he didn't dare to underestimate his opponent and counterattacked with all his might. Boom! Crack! The two figures clashed once again in the sky, causing another crack to appear in Elder Yin's space domain. Swoosh! This time, Elder Yin was prepared, and he used the explosive power of the blood devil sun body to retreat and increase the distance between them. However, even so, Elder Yin's blood boiled, and a layer of blood devil sun flames appeared on his body. Unavoidably, he was slightly injured. If that was all, Elder Yin could use his peak-tier king cultivation to fight for a long time and exhaust Zhao Feng to death. After all, Zhao Feng's cultivation wasn't high, and he could use his bloodline, battle techniques, and weapons to challenge those with higher cultivation. However, if this continued, he definitely wouldn't be a match for someone with the same battle power as him. However, the mutated blood devil sun bloodline's blood-sucking technique had broken this restriction. The second clash, Zhao Feng absorbed some of Elder Yin's yuan qi and blood, and his body's condition became better and better. Earth-grade weapon, floating dragon tooth sword. Elder Yin's face was fierce. A dark golden bone sword appeared in his hand, surrounded by a huge golden dragon shadow sword qi. Dark golden flame dragons appeared around it, covering a radius of 100 miles. It's this peak-grade earth-grade floating dragon tooth sword. The main material of this sword is the tooth of an ancient lesser dragon lord. The hearts of the experts below shuddered as they sensed the aura of a powerful being. When the floating dragon tooth sword appeared, Elder Yin's battle power increased by 50 to 60%, and the aura of a dragon forced Zhao Feng back. Ding! Pang! Zhao Feng closed in for the third time, but he was finally pushed back by Elder Yin's sword. Sparks flew on the surface of his sacred lightning body. The damage he received was negligible with his powerful body and bloodline. A peak-grade earth-grade weapon. Zhao Feng squinted his eyes. This time, his close combat wasn't very ideal. The effect of his lifesteal was slightly weaker than the previous two times. On the other hand, Elder Yin's peak-grade earth-grade weapon wasn't simple, and it was a king amongst those of the same cultivation. Brat, apart from inheritance sacred weapons and heaven-grade weapons, my floating dragon tooth sword has never met a match. You can't get close to me, and the threat of your bloodline is greatly reduced. Elder Yin had a smug expression. At the same time, he let out a breath in his heart. If he couldn't suppress Zhao Feng at all, how would he have the face to face others with his peak-tier king cultivation? Inheritance sacred weapon. I actually do have one here. Mockery and mockery flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. Putting aside inheritance sacred weapons, he even had one or two legendary substandard god weapons. Inheritance sacred weapon, sky-locking bow. A dark silver bow appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Mysterious carvings were carved on the surface of the bow, and they formed a three-dimensional tadpole-like pattern. Jiang! The bowstring glittered with a cold golden light, and it caused the floating dragon-tooth sword in Elder Yin's hand to tremble uneasily. Inheritance sacred weapon. And it's a long-range weapon at that. The smile on Elder Yin's face froze. Experts had different levels, and weapons also had different levels. In terms of weapons, the floating dragon-tooth sword was suppressed by Zhao Feng's sky-locking bow, and its power would be restricted. Sky-locking bow. Inheritance sacred weapon. This must be something Zhao Feng obtained in the divine illusion dimension. The spectators in the arena were in a state of shock. Since you don't want to fight in close combat, then we'll fight from a distance. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. After saying this, he pulled the golden bowstring of the sky-locking bow with one hand, and the wind-lightning true yuan in his body furiously poured into it. When a bright golden arrow instantly formed on the bowstring of the sky-locking bow, and it was surrounded by wisps of condensed wind-lightning. Not good. In the distance, Elder Yin felt a chill in his heart for some reason. He felt a piercing pain from a sharp metal energy that could pierce through the heavens. Elder Yin gripped the floating dragon-tooth sword as his body froze, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He had a feeling that no matter how he dodged, he wouldn't be able to dodge the attack of the sky-locking bow. The skylock bow. It's actually this legendary inherited sacred artifact. This Zhao Feng is not only strong in close combat, but he also specializes in long-range weapons. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to obtain the recognition of the sky-locking bow. Some of the kings present were also stunned. It was hard to imagine that such a terrifying existence was only a junior at the origin core realm. My true yuan cultivation isn't as strong as Elder Yin's, so it's hard for the sky-locking bow to kill him. However, if I condense a soul arrow, I might be able to instantly kill him. Zhao Feng's left eye bloodline and the sky-locking bow locked onto Elder Yin. Elder Yin didn't dare to act rashly. The pressure and threat made him feel like he had fallen into an icehouse. Zhao Feng was only analyzing and simulating, but he didn't attack. He also had an idea. If he combined the sky-locking bow with the substandard god-slaying arrow, he didn't know what kind of power it would have. I'll only be able to use the god-slaying arrow after becoming a king. Zhao Feng analyzed in his heart. Arrow-type weapons were consumables, and their requirements for cultivation were much lower than other weapons of the same rank. The sky-locking bow could be seen as a crowbar, while the god-slaying arrow was the item that had to be lifted. For Zhao Feng, the god-slaying arrow was too heavy. The weight of the god-slaying arrow that had to be pried up was too great, exceeding his limits. Unless he could increase his own strength, he would not be able to unleash its might. In the air above the 10,000 sacred clan, the auras of the earth-grade weapon and the inheritance sacred weapon continued to rise. The spectators all maintained their distance, and their hearts tightened. Stop! An incomparably dignified voice rang out from nowhere, causing a faint rumble to resound from the boundary of this world. Suddenly, a strong emperor's magnificent power descended. Everyone present, including the Void God Realm kings, felt their hearts shake, and they found it hard to breathe. In the next instant, Shua. At some point in time, a beautiful woman wearing an amethyst crown had appeared in the cloud layer. The peerlessly beautiful woman's entire body was surrounded by crystalline light. Colorful silk ribbons fluttered around her body, giving her a perfect and noble air. Emperor Ling Qiong. Sounds of respect mixed with amazement came from the crowd. Some of the lower-level sect disciples even knelt down to pay their respects under the great pressure. "Greetings, Third Elder." Elder Yin let out a long breath. The other kings such as King Lu Yun, Elder Wu, and company also bowed. "Third Elder, Emperor Ling Qiong." Zhao Feng couldn't help but look over. This peerless beauty was the only female emperor of the 10,000 sacred clan, Emperor Ling Qiong. This made Zhao Feng remember the Cold Moon Emperor from the Pirate King's sacred land. Compared to the Cold Moon Emperor's valiant and murderous aura, this Emperor Ling Qiong had a more dignified and graceful beauty. "Emperor Ling Qiong, you have to help us." Elder Yin and the injured Elder Wu immediately spoke up and accused Zhao Feng of his evil actions. This brat disregarded the life and death of his fellow disciples, offended an elder, and severely injured one of the elders. Emperor Ling Qiong's expression was as calm as the water of a lake as she listened to the two elders. No one could tell what she was thinking. Zhao Feng floated in the air and didn't show any signs of panic or change under the pressure of an emperor. As expected of a genius that Duke Nanfeng likes. Admiration and interest flashed through Emperor Ling Qiong's eyes as she inspected Zhao Feng. She didn't show any enmity, and her expression could even be considered friendly. This scene made Elder Yin and Elder Wu feel indignant. "Third Elder, you have to be fair. My body's bones are about to fall apart from the beating." Elder Wu's voice trembled. His heavily injured appearance was enough to make anyone who didn't know the truth pity him. "Humph." Emperor Ling Qiong's expression went cold. "I saw everything from the beginning to the end." Hearing this, Elder Yin and Elder Wu's hearts dropped, and their faces went white. According to some rumors, Emperor Ling Qiong has a secret relationship with Duke Nanfeng. Not far away, King Lu Yun and the others discussed among themselves. Chapter 874. Martial Monarch Ling Qiong's cold harumph sent chills down Elder Wu and Elder Yin's spines. Indeed. Their previous words were slightly slanderous and twisted. However, the two of them did not expect the entire process to be witnessed by great Emperor Ling Qiong. On top of that, Emperor Ling Qiong was friends with the ruler of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, Duke Nanfeng. She didn't hide her admiration for Zhao Feng. "Since the third elder has seen the entire process, please give us a fair judgment," King Lu Yun and company suggested. There were only 2 or 3 emperors in the entire 10,000 sacred clan, and Emperor Ling Qiong's status was the highest. Furthermore, Emperor Ling Qiong was famous for being impartial. Many people respected her, but there were also people who hated her. "Okay." Emperor Ling Qiong nodded her head, and her beautiful eyes landed on Zhao Feng. "Zhao Feng." A cold voice that contained the pressure of an emperor covered Zhao Feng's body. Boom! Zhao Feng's figure shook in the air, and he revealed a surprised expression. He originally thought that Emperor Ling Qiong would protect him due to her relationship with Duke Nanfeng. However, judging from the current situation, Great Emperor Ling Qiong was going to put him in his place as soon as she appeared. However, this display wasn't successful. Even the pressure of an emperor wasn't enough to make Zhao Feng yield. Finally, Great Emperor Ling Qiong's expression changed. She found that she had underestimated Zhao Feng. He was indeed worthy of being someone that Duke Nanfeng wanted to recruit. Back then, Zhao Feng could even reject the precious title of a duke. "May I ask Third Elder what crime I have committed and how I should be punished?" Zhao Feng said calmly. In the current situation, he didn't want to fight with an emperor, nor did he want to fight with the 10,000 sacred clan. After all, after Zhao Feng reincarnated, he used the 10,000 sacred clan as a springboard to take a huge leap forward. "Zhao Feng, you left the team in the divine illusion dimension. Is that true?" Great Emperor Ling Qiong asked. The magnificent power of an emperor on her body became stronger and stronger, pressuring Zhao Feng. If it was any other king, they would have already collapsed, but Zhao Feng's expression didn't change at all. "Yes. Zhao Feng was very straightforward. You were disrespectful to the elders and severely injured Elder Wu. Is that true? Great Emperor Ling Qiong's voice turned cold. Yes. There was no hesitation in that voice. At this moment, the place was dead silent. Elder Wu and Elder Yin had gloating expressions on their faces. Everyone thought that Great Emperor Ling Qiong would side with Zhao Feng, but in reality, it was the opposite. Some of the clan members couldn't help but look at Zhao Feng with pity. Everyone knew that Zhao Feng had injured Elder Wu in self-defense. Very good, Zhao Feng. I admire your honesty. Although you were forced to do so, I can't easily convict you before the truth of the divine illusion dimension is confirmed. Great Emperor Ling Qiong's tone suddenly changed. Hearing this, Elder Wu, Elder Yin, and company all started to agree. From the looks of it, Great Emperor Ling Qiong wanted to convict Zhao Feng, but the truth could only be confirmed by the other elites that entered the divine illusion dimension. After all, no one present could testify to what Zhao Feng said. Maybe Zhao Feng really did betray the 10,000 sacred clan and betray them. I can't convict you now. Does that mean I can go back and cultivate? Zhao Feng said slowly. Zhao Feng didn't put Great Emperor Ling Qiong's punishment to heart. He wouldn't stay in the 10,000 sacred clan for too long. He would leave the 10,000 sacred clan after recovering his cultivation. Sure. Great Emperor Ling Qiong paused. She felt that this youth in front of her was ignoring her. However, Zhao Feng didn't show any obvious disrespect. The Void God Realm kings present couldn't help but feel weird. Looking at Zhao Feng, he didn't seem worried about his future at all. Great Emperor Ling Qiong was slightly displeased by his calm and fearless demeanor. Before the truth comes to light, I will ground you for 2 months. You can't leave the 10,000 sacred clan or else you will be considered a traitor and will be killed. Coldness appeared on Great Emperor Ling Qiong's face. The nearby kings all felt a terrifying pressure, and their hearts jumped out of their chests. Those that were familiar with Great Emperor Ling Qiong knew that Zhao Feng had made her unhappy. With her temper, it was very likely that she would teach Zhao Feng a lesson. 2 months. Zhao Feng's footsteps paused, and he left the black stage as if no one was present. In reality, Zhao Feng was planning to cultivate for 2 to 3 months and raise his cultivation to the Void God Realm. That way, his strength would be close to the peak of the left-eyed Heavenly Emperor. Whoosh! An ancient flying chariot appeared under Zhao Feng's feet and merged into the depths of the 10,000 sacred clan. So fast. It's extremely close to the speed of an emperor. Some of the kings present couldn't help but be surprised. When did junior martial brother Zhao change mounts again? The eyes of some of the disciples were filled with envy and jealousy as they watched Zhao Feng fly away. Substandard God Crystal. Great Emperor Ling Qiong couldn't help but exclaim as she felt the faint undulations of God crystals coming from the flying flaming chariot. Substandard God crystals were basically the best legendary God crystals in the continent zone. Even emperors were extremely tempted by substandard God crystals. Even Mystic Light Realm's sacred lords needed substandard God crystals to cultivate. However, Zhao Feng had embedded a substandard God crystal into a flying chariot. The advantage of this was that the flying flaming chariot had an endless supply of energy, so Zhao Feng didn't need to put any true yuan into it. Great Emperor Ling Qiong and the other Void God Realm experts locked onto Zhao Feng as he entered the depths of the 10,000 sacred clan with their divine senses. Zhao Feng didn't show any signs of leaving the clan, so Great Emperor Ling Qiong and company didn't stop him. In just a few dozen breaths, Zhao Feng's flaming chariot returned to the courtyard of a core disciple. Immediately, Zhao Feng put up the seclusion token, opened the array, and started to cultivate. Before cultivating, Zhao Feng's consciousness entered the substandard God Misty Spatial World's little world. These mountains, rivers, and lands were nurtured by plants and other living beings. Zhao Feng planted some treasures such as the green water sky lotus and the spiritual flesh snow jade lotus in the little world. Apart from that, the 5 poison distinct bees that he had obtained were also given a separate area to be raised, and they needed to be constantly supplied with pollen. Zhao Feng gave these tasks to the little thieving cat for now. Meow meow. The little thieving cat jumped around as it accepted its master's tasks, but it also asked for some resources. The resources it asked for were enough to make several Void God Realm kings go bankrupt. Zhao Feng agreed without the slightest hesitation. The most important thing right now was to recover his strength, and the misty spatial world did indeed need to be taken care of. Within the courtyard, within the room, Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged as wisps of faint green wood of wind lightning appeared around him. Shwa! Shwa! King Wind Lightning Crystal Core, Boundless Wood, 100 Origin Honey Juice, Green Water Sky Lotus, and other top resources appeared in front of Zhao Feng. Apart from the Wind Lightning Crystal Core, most of the other resources could provide him with the essence of plants and other powerful effects that were beneficial to his cultivation, body, bloodline, and even soul. The power of wind lightning gathered in the air above Zhao Feng's courtyard and formed a vast ball of wind lightning. After recovering his emperor intent, Zhao Feng's cultivation didn't have any bottlenecks. What he needed to do was to accumulate and complete the sequence of the new cultivation technique, 5 elemental wind lightning technique. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. More and more wood of wind lightning appeared within Zhao Feng's body, and its quality had reached the Void God realm. On top of that, the crystal core within Zhao Feng's body was different from normal techniques. His crystal core was split into 2 parts. One part was dark blue, and the other part was green. From the looks of it, it looked like a sapphire and an emerald put together. The dark blue part represented the water of wind lightning, and it took up 2/3 of its volume. The green part represented the wood of wind lightning, and it took up 1/3 of its volume. It was unbelievable. The dark blue water of wind lightning could be turned into the wood of wind lightning. Water to wood. Wood to fire. Fire to earth. Earth to metal. Metal to water. The path of Zhao Feng's 5 elemental wind lightning technique could be seen with one glance. Of course, the water of wind lightning could be turned into the wood of wind lightning, but the wood of wind lightning couldn't be turned into the water of wind lightning. Unless the 5 elements of wind and lightning were all connected and formed a complete cycle, he would not be able to do so. At that time, Zhao Feng's true yuan reserves would far surpass those of the same cultivation, and he would be able to do whatever he wanted. 20 days after Zhao Feng entered seclusion, peak Great Origin Core Realm. Zhao Feng's aura rose dramatically, and the crystal core within his body expanded to the limit. When the power of wind lightning formed a whirlpool in the air above the courtyard, the hearts of the nearby central disciples shook. Apart from some core disciples, most of the disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan hadn't even broken through to the Origin Core Realm, let alone the peak Great Origin Core Realm. Furthermore, the quality of Zhao Feng's true yuan was comparable to a Void God Realm king, and he only needed to wait for his crystal core to open up a dimension of true yuan. I'm just one step away from reaching the peak of my previous life, and then I'll surpass it. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled, and he couldn't help but feel excited. In this life, the technique he cultivated was even stronger, and his future was even greater. After the divine illusion dimension, he had more resources than he had in his previous life. Just as Zhao Feng was trying to break through to the Void God realm on this day, a powerful Fire Dao Emperor aura appeared in the sky above the 10,000 Sacred Clan. The sky above the 10,000 Sacred Clan was covered in a scarlet-red light that radiated a powerful aura of the Tao of Fire. The hearts of the upper echelon of the 10,000 Sacred Clan shook. Some kings and emperors were shocked, and they used their divine senses to check with solemn expressions. Right now, the 10,000 Sacred Clan had 3 emperors. 2 of them were in seclusion, and one of them was Emperor Ling Qiong. Why is the emperor of the Tai family, Tai Litian, here? Emperor Ling Qiong's expression changed dramatically. The legendary emperor in front of them was famous, and he came from one of the 8 big families, the Tai family. An elder in dark red battle robes could be faintly seen within the scarlet-red light. The aura of this Fire Dao emperor was obviously stronger than Emperor Ling Qiong's, and the latter's breathing quickened. I came all the way from the West Mountain Palace and found out that the Blood Devil Sun bloodline of my family appeared in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, so I investigated several times and came here. Now, the truth has been revealed. The elder in battle robes, Tai Litian, laughed loudly and shook the entire 10,000 sacred clan. Chapter 875. Blood Devil Sun Bloodline. The experts of the 10,000 sacred clan looked at each other and started to discuss. The kings led by King Lu Yun soon thought of a person. The Blood Devil Sun bloodline was ranked 81st on the Imperial Dao bloodline rankings, and it was one of the top legendary bloodlines in the continent zone. However, there was indeed a youth that seemed to have the Blood Devil Sun bloodline in the 10,000 sacred clan. As for the young man, he had just been given a house arrest order. May I ask what the truth that Elder Tai is talking about is? A solemn expression appeared on Emperor Ling Qiong's face. Great Emperor Ling Qiong was fearful of Tai Litian and the Tai family behind him. All of the 8 big families in the Great Gon Lord dynasty were comparable to 3-star sects and had great influence in the Lord dynasty. Amongst them, the Tai family was one of the top families, and it was comparable to a peak 3-star force. In the faraway West Mountain Palace, the Tai family guarded the northwestern border of the Lord dynasty, and they were the main pillar against the invasion of the Dark Moon Lord dynasty. The elites of the Tai family were trained in the flames of war, and their strength surpassed those of the same generation. In comparison, the declining 10,000 sacred clan couldn't even compare to a normal 3-star force, let alone the Tai family. Therefore, at this point in time the atmosphere in front of the 10,000 sacred clan was tense. The Tai family wasn't a force that the 10,000 sacred clan could offend, and Tai Litian's battle power was enough to crush normal emperors. I want to find Zhao Feng. Bring him back to the Tai family and raise him. Tai Litian's eyes were filled with heat and expectation. Thinking about the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline he sensed half a month ago, he couldn't contain the excitement in his heart. Zhao Feng. I'm afraid that won't work. Emperor Ling Qiong's expression changed once more, and she answered without thinking. Not long ago, some news about the divine illusion dimension had spread. The most important piece of news was the ancient god palace's Xia Yang Palace and the black serpent dragon that possessed the bloodline of the destruction dragon race. The shocking benefits of Xia Yang Palace, the power of the evil god, the ancient god weapon, and the substandard god weapon caused huge waves in the upper echelons of the Lord dynasties. Great Emperor Ling Qiong learned that a duo called the purple-haired demonic duo had a place in the fight for resources in Xia Yang Palace, and they were even stronger than the other super families and super sections. Coincidentally, one of the purple-haired demonic duo had a person with the same name as Zhao Feng. Great Empress Ling Qiong guessed that Zhao Feng might be one of the purple-haired demonic duo and possessed unfathomable strength. No. Ha ha ha. Does the 10,000 sacred clan want to stop our Tai family? Tai Litian raised his head and laughed out loud. Bzzz. In an instant, Tai Litian's body emitted a dazzling and glaring scarlet light that overshadowed the radiance of the blazing sun. With an earth-shattering might, the space around the mountain gate turned into a sea of fire hell. Hundreds and thousands of sect disciples were being burned by the blazing sun. Ah, the members of the sects couldn't bear the heat. No matter how hard they struggled, they couldn't break out of the inferno. Stop! Great Emperor Ling Qiong spread her arms, and the image of a crystalline little world stacked on top of the mountain gate to block the scarlet light from Tai Litian. However, this also meant that she had to face Tai Litian's attack. Boom! Great Emperor Ling Qiong harumphed as her body trembled, and her little world started to tremble. You're not my match. Tell Zhao Feng to come out and talk to me. Tai Litian placed his hands behind his back, and the scarlet light around him suddenly retracted. He seemed to become a blinding ball of sun. However, right at this moment, the aura of a third emperor appeared in the depths of the 10,000 sacred clan. The 10,000 sacred clan has fallen to such a state. A measly emperor dares to come and steal from us. An old and tired voice sounded from the depths of the 10,000 sacred clan. Although this emperor's aura wasn't as strong as Tai Litian's, it was more mysterious. When an elder with white hair and orange light appeared in the air above the mountain gate, and he radiated an emperor's magnificent power. This was the projection of an emperor. Old Monster Su, you're still alive after failing to break through to the mystic light realm? Tai Litian revealed a weird expression, and wariness finally appeared in his eyes. In the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, only Duke Nanfeng was able to make him wary. However, this old Monster Su wasn't simple either. He was once a peak emperor, but he had failed to break through to the mystic light realm and was reaching the end of his lifespan. Furthermore, the 10,000 sacred clan had 3 emperors, and Great Emperor Ling Qiong was the weakest. Several breaths later, the divine senses of several emperors interacted in the air above the 10,000 sacred clan. The other void god realm kings could only feel the disturbance of their divine senses, but they couldn't hear anything. A long time later, the elder with white hair and orange light spoke, "Sure, as you wish." Shua. As soon as he finished speaking, old Monster Su's emperor projection disappeared. Who knew what kind of agreement these void god realm emperors had come to? Tell Zhao Feng to come out and make a choice. Great Emperor Ling Qiong said with a cold expression. Due to being wary of the Tai family, the 10,000 sacred clan had to make a compromise. However, the 10,000 sacred clan couldn't just hand over Zhao Feng, they had to let him make a choice. Tai Litian was very confident and agreed to the deal. A while later, reporting to Emperor, the area where Zhao Feng is cultivating is very powerful, and it's hard to get close. A half-step king arrived and said in a slightly panicked tone. Great Emperor Ling Qiong and Tai Litian's divine senses scanned toward a certain area. There was an enormous whirlpool of wind lightning there, and it contained a large amount of wood energy. Ha ha ha. As expected of a disciple of the Tai family. He already has the intent to break through to the void god realm at such a young age. Tai Litian roared with laughter. Hearing that, the upper echelon of the 10,000 sacred clan, Great Emperor Ling Qiong, and the kings all had ugly expressions. Indeed, the 10,000 sacred clan didn't take advantage of such a genius. Shua. Tai Litian and Great Emperor Ling Qiong landed in the air above Zhao Feng's courtyard. Within the room, Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He withdrew his true yuan and walked into the courtyard, then raised his head to look at the 2 emperors in the air. You're that Zhao Feng. Very good, very good. Tai Litian had a praising expression, and his eyes flashed with excitement. Zhao Feng's hairs stood on end. Tai Litian's strength had almost reached the level of a peak emperor, and he was much stronger than Emperor Mu Yun back in the day. Just when Zhao Feng was confused, a voice rang out. Shua. Tai Litian waved his hand, and an old figure appeared from his little world. Grandpa Zhao. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised and couldn't help but exclaim. Grandpa Zhao was the grandfather of the original Zhao Feng. The original Zhao Feng's parents had died when he was young, and his grandfather had raised him. The relationship between them was even better than that of father and son. Feng, do you remember the name of your birth mother that your grandfather once told you? Grandpa Zhao let out a long sigh with a complicated expression. Firstly, he knew the secret of Zhao Feng's current body. Secondly, Zhao Feng's identity wasn't as simple as it seemed. Name. Zhao Feng started to reminisce. He had cultivated the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, so he could recall even the deepest memories. Soon. Zhao Feng received the answer. His mother's name was Tai Shioli. Her surname is Tai. Emperor Ling Qiong and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan were stunned in disbelief. I didn't think that your mother would be the daughter of the Tai family, one of the 8 big families. Grandpa Zhao sighed. It was obvious that he had just heard this news. Junior. You're a disciple of the Tai family and have the Blood Devil Sun bloodline. You should be proud and honored. Tai Litian laughed brightly. Victory was already in his hands. Zhao Feng stood there and paused for a while. He was tempted by his own bloodline, and he was prepared to go to the family to investigate it when he had the time. He didn't expect that. After this bloodline that was suspected to be the Blood Devil Sun bloodline spread out, the experts of the Iron family coincidentally noticed it. Knowing this, the upper echelon of the 10,000 Sacred Clan couldn't help but sigh. Without even thinking, Zhao Feng would definitely choose to go to the Tai family instead of staying in a peak 2-star force. Furthermore, Emperor Ling Qiong had ordered Zhao Feng to be grounded not long ago. No wonder Tai Litian was so confident and made such an agreement with the 10,000 Sacred Clan, giving Zhao Feng the choice. Feng, why aren't you leaving with this emperor? Grandpa Zhao reminded. He even signaled to Zhao Feng with his eyes. His meaning was obvious, joining a super force like the Tai family would be of great help to him and the Zhao clan. Tai Litian smiled faintly and was filled with confidence as he waited for Zhao Feng's reply. On the other hand, Emperor Ling Qiong and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan had ugly expressions, but they were already mentally prepared. Sorry, but I'm not interested in these things at all. Right now, my focus is on cultivation. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned over the 2 emperors in the sky, then he turned around and left behind a dazzling figure. The upper echelon of the 10,000 Sacred Clan watching this scene all had gaping mouths. You. Tai Litian's expression became even more colorful. He seemed to choke as he floated in the air with a red face. He didn't choose to go with you. According to our agreement. Emperor Ling Qiong was surprised, but she had a faint smile. She didn't think that Zhao Feng wasn't interested in returning to the Tai family at all. Humph. But he didn't choose to stay in the 10,000 Sacred Clan either. Tai Litian snickered coldly and left with Grandpa Zhao. According to the agreement, he didn't lose either. Zhao Feng didn't have a choice between the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Tai family, or rather, he wasn't interested in choosing. Within the room, Zhao Feng continued to cultivate. After Tai Litian left, the 10,000 Sacred Clan regained its peace. Emperor Ling Qiong immediately ordered the area around Zhao Feng's courtyard to be cleared, and no one was allowed to disturb him. This Zhao Feng doesn't even care about a powerful emperor like Tai Litian. Could he really be one of the purple-haired demonic duo and one of the biggest beneficiaries of Xiayang Palace? Emperor Ling Qiong had a feeling that the 10,000 Sacred Clan couldn't contain this dragon anymore. Time passed by. More and more news regarding the Divine Illusion Dimension spread from the continent to the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. The news shocked Emperor Ling Qiong and the upper echelon of the 10,000 Sacred Clan. At this point in time, the Divine Illusion Dimension had ended almost 2 months ago. Within the room, Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the final stage. 2 powerful surges of wind lightning true yuan surged within the crystal core within his body and formed a dimension that could contain the entire true yuan. This was because Zhao Feng had emperor intent, and he was comparable to a half-step king after breaking through to the peak Great Origin Core realm. The past 2 months of cultivation had almost allowed him to reach the level of a king, and he was only missing the solidification of his true yuan dimension. Chapter 876. 10,000 Sacred Clan. The area where Zhao Feng was cultivating had been cleared out by the sect's upper echelons. There wasn't a second sect member within a 100-mile radius. Buzzing in the sky above the courtyard was an enormous whirlpool of wind and lightning that was deep like the ocean. As it breathed in and out, the vast and boundless energy of wind and lightning in the heavens and the earth gushed in, and then it eliminated strands of the impurities in the vast origin energy. This powerful aura made normal void god realm kings feel pressured and unable to get close. From time to time, waves of divine will would sweep towards the area where Zhao Feng was cultivating. It's hard to imagine that such a young man possesses the ability to make a breakthrough to the king realm, and he's not far from success either. The wind-lightning cultivation technique that he cultivates seems to possess a realm that surpasses common sense. The upper echelon of the 10,000 sacred clan and some kings and elders started to talk. It had been almost 2 months since the divine illusion dimension ended. While Zhao Feng was meditating, important news came from the central region of the continent. Within a crystal palace at the peak of a mountain in the 10,000 sacred clan, third elder. According to the news from the central continent and the Earth Spirit Hall, the purple-haired demonic duo was the biggest beneficiary of Xiayang Palace. My sex Zhao Feng is definitely one of the purple-haired demonic duo, and he might even be their leader. A half-step king half-kneeled on the ground, full of reverence. The leader of the demonic duo? Are you sure the information is accurate? Great Emperor Ling Qiong was speechless. Even though she had been mentally prepared, she did not expect that Zhao Feng was not only one of the demonic duo, but also their leader. What was even more unbelievable was that this duo had become the biggest beneficiaries of Xiayang Palace. From the fragmented information, either one of the demonic duo had the strength of a normal void god realm emperor. Gu Chaoji from Earth Spirit Hall has interacted with the purple-haired demonic duo before, so he's very familiar with them, the half-step king realm said confidently. The Earth Spirit Hall was a 3-star super sect at the edge of the continent zone. It was not far from the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. On the same day, the upper echelon elders of the 10,000 sacred clan held an emergency meeting. However, after confirming Zhao Feng's identity, the upper echelon of the 10,000 sacred clan didn't dare to act rashly. Firstly, Zhao Feng's immeasurable strength and the trump cards he had obtained from Xiayang Palace. Secondly, Zhao Feng's background wasn't simple, he had an emperor's teacher and Duke Nanfeng as his backing. Thirdly, the relationship with the Tai family. The Tai clan was a peak existence among the 8 great clans of the dynasty. They were the mainstay of the northwestern region's resistance against the Dark Moon dynasty. The emperor of the Tai family, Tai Litian, was near the 10,000 sacred clan and hadn't left yet. Between the clouds, Tai Litian, who was wearing a dark red battle robe, stood in the sea of clouds and looked down at the 10,000 sacred clan below. I didn't expect this youth with the Tai family's bloodline to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of the ancient god mansion, Xiayang Palace. I've still underestimated him. Tai Li Tian muttered and his face turned solemn. The issue of Zhao Feng's return to the Tai family had become complicated. Even some 3-star and 4-star super forces couldn't resist the temptation of Xiayang Palace. Furthermore, the purple-haired demonic duo had a lot of enemies in the divine illusion dimension. In the mainland of the continent zone, there was an endless mountain range that was shrouded in dark mist all year round. Demonic chi filled this mountain range, and even ghosts and gods would retreat. This was the most famous sacred ground of the demonic Tao in the Lord Dynasty, the 9 Darkness Mountain Range. When talking about the 9 Darkness Mountain Range, one had to talk about the ruling force here, 9 Darkness Palace. 9 Darkness Palace was one of the strongest demonic Tao forces in the Great Gan Lord Dynasty, and it was a 4-star power at its peak. Even in this era, 9 Darkness Palace was a peak 3-star superpower and one of the top 3-star powers. It had the power to command all the demonic Tao forces in the Lord Dynasty. However, on this day enraged, roaring, and murderous voices came from a core secret hall of the 9 Nether Palace. The elite group of 9 Darkness Palace was slaughtered by Nan Gongsheng, one of the demonic duo, in Xiayang Palace. Jiu Wuji had the strength of a peak-tier king, but he couldn't even fight back against that brat. Looks like the power of the evil god's inheritance is real. The owners of these voices were at least peak-tier kings, and many of them were emperors. Some of them had auras even higher. Some of the demonic Tao emperors in the hall had just come out of seclusion, and they were enraged when they heard the news. If normal kings were to be in this hall, their hearts would jump and they would start panting. Reporting to Grand Elder. A king half knelt on the ground and said in a trembling voice, "We haven't found out where Nan Gongxing of the purple-haired demonic duo came from. However, we seem to have found traces of him in the center of the Lord dynasty." Nan Gongxing. The upper echelon of Nine Darkness Palace all remembered this name. This name had wiped out the entire group of Nine Darkness Palace elites that had entered Xia Yang Palace by himself. From their initial analysis, Nan Gongxing's battle power was comparable to an emperor. Apart from that, the other purple-haired demonic duo, Zhao Feng, is currently in the 10,000 sacred clan of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. That's Duke Nanfeng's territory. That king half knelt on the ground. He looked at the Grand Supreme Elder in awe, who was sitting at the head of the table like a cluster of illusory demonic light. The Grand Elder's aura was limitless, and his body seemed to be weightless. He was like a ball of demonic light that had surpassed the limits of flesh and blood. If it wasn't for the fact that one's gaze landed on the Grand Elder, they would have forgotten about him. However, from the beginning to the end, the Supreme Elder did not say anything. There were two other extremely powerful existences on his left and right. One was the black-robed demonic lord, who was in a whirlpool of black light, and the other was a beautiful demonic beauty who was sitting in a purple-black lotus. Below the three supreme magnates were other great emperors, including some ancient top great emperors. We need at least several peak emperors to kill Nan Gongxing. In order to be safe, we need to send a mystic light realm sacred lord. The beautiful witch sitting cross-legged in the purple-black lotus flames didn't open her mouth, but her invisible voice pierced through the soul and the material plane. Mystic light realm sacred lord. The hearts of all the kings and emperors present shook. Under normal circumstances, sending out several peak great emperors would be shocking news. Peak emperors were usually at the level of Duan Wuqing, the Wind Lightning Emperor, or even the Emperor of Death. According to their understanding of Nan Gongxing's strength, 2 or 3 peak emperors would be more than enough to kill him. However, the enraged upper echelon of Nine Darkness Palace placed great importance on this matter. As for the other person of the demonic duo, Zhao Feng, he's said to be extremely mysterious and not to be underestimated. The black-robed demon king, who was in the black whirlpool, nodded. At this moment, the two mystic light realms sacred lords looked at each other and made a decision. Sitting in the middle, the Grand Supreme Elder, who was like an illusory demonic light, finally spat out a word, "All right." As soon as he finished speaking, the unfathomable Grand Supreme Elder disappeared without a trace. If demigod Kun Yun was here, he would be able to see through this person's strength and even be moved. Great Gone Lord Dynasty, Sky Suspension Palace. Within a group of palaces that floated above the clouds, this place was like a celestial realm that reigned above the thousands of clans and races of the mortal world. On top of a lone peak, 2 ordinary people with ordinary auras were sitting there, playing chess. One of the 2 mortals was a fat man with a fat face and big ears, and the other was a lifeless old man who looked like a withered tree. Whoosh! Right at this moment, the aura of a void god realm emperor descended on the lone peak. Reporting to the 2 ancestors, I can roughly sense the location of the black destruction serpent dragon. Apart from that, there are also traces of Nan Gongxing, who possesses the inheritance of the evil god. This emperor's aura was even stronger than Tai Litian's and was close to the Emperor of Death's level. From the looks of the Mark of Destruction, the strength of that black loach hasn't recovered to the level of a demigod yet. We still have a chance of sealing it now. The withered old man said. The price to seal this black loach is too high. We need to pull those old undyings from the Grand Imperial Hall down with us. They definitely won't sit by and watch the Lord dynasty be destroyed. The fat man with a fat face and big ears spoke in a treacherous tone. The 2 mortals looked at each other and quickly came to an agreement, nodding their heads. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng was still cultivating in the 10,000 sacred clan far away. He didn't know that he was at the center of the whirlpool of the Lord dynasty. He only had one goal left in his heart, and that was to recover his peak strength from his previous life or even surpass it. It's about time. Zhao Feng circulated the two surges of wind lightning within his body, the wood of wind lightning and the water of wind lightning. The crystal core within his dantian had stabilized, and its size hadn't changed. However, a drastic change had occurred within the crystal core. The true yuan within had turned into a lake and a dimension of its own. As the true yuan dimension stabilized, Zhao Feng would step into the realm of a true king. Whoosh! 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 On this day, the sound of flying came from the sky above the 10,000 sacred clan. Surges of shocking auras covered the sky above the 10,000 sacred clan. The owners of these auras were at least at the void god realm, and there were 4 or 5 emperors. That's Tai Litian, who was floating in the sky, revealed a surprised expression. He had already recognized the origin of this force. In the entire continent, there were only a few 3-star sections. It's a void god realm expert from the Earth Spirit Hall. The entire 10,000 sacred clan was in chaos, and even Emperor Ling Qiong panicked. Earth Spirit Hall is coming with such ferocious momentum. I'm afraid they don't have good intentions. Great Emperor Ling Qiong felt a chill in her heart. The Earth Spirit Hall was the only 3-star sect nearby. It was even stronger than the mystic true sacred clan that Zhao Feng was from. 10,000 sacred clan. This is the sect that Zhao Feng belongs to. Gu Chaoji stood in the middle of the kings and emperors, and his divine sense scanned the 10,000 sacred clan below. Even though he was deeply afraid of Zhao Feng. However, the difference in strength between the two sects was like an abyss. Earth Spirit Hall versus 10,000 sacred sect, 3-star versus 2-star. This was definitely a merciless suppression. 10,000 sacred clan, hand over Zhao Feng of the purple-haired demonic duo. Surges of magnificent power from the Earth Spirit Hall descended, and their voices resounded through heaven and earth, causing the entrance of the 10,000 sacred clan to shake. The upper echelon of the 10,000 sacred clan wasn't surprised that the Earth Spirit Hall wanted Zhao Feng. The gazes of Emperor Ling Qiong and company instinctively looked toward where Zhao Feng was cultivating, and they found that the whirlpool of wind lightning was slowly fading away. At this moment, Zhao Feng had already completed his breakthrough, and he had even calmly concealed his aura. This wasn't something that a newly ascended king could do. Chapter 877. In reality, Zhao Feng had already broken through to the Void God Realm 2 days ago. Void God Realm kings didn't pose any bottlenecks to his soul at all. Zhao Feng's focus was on solidifying his true Yuan dimension. Back in the Divine Illusion dimension, Zhao Feng had been chasing after the strength of his true Yuan in order to increase his explosive power in a short period of time. Before the Great Origin Core Realm, the quality of his true Yuan was already comparable to a Void God Realm king. Now that he had reached the Void God Realm, the quality of his true Yuan was even higher, and it was comparable to normal domain-level kings. When both the water of wind lightning and the wood of wind lightning intertwined on the surface of Zhao Feng's body and gave off a smooth glow. Over the past 2 months of seclusion, Zhao Feng's wood of wind lightning had broken through to the early stages of the 7th level, and it was even close to the late stages. Starting from the 7th level of the 5-elemental wind lightning technique, each level represented a different element of wind lightning, and it was split into the early stages, late stages, and peak stages. The 7th level of the 5-elemental wind lightning technique was equivalent to the 5th level of the sacred lightning body. The increase in his cultivation meant that Zhao Feng's state of existence, body, and soul had both been strengthened to a certain degree. Zhao Feng's Golden Kun sacred lightning body had reached the late stages of the 5th level after using a large amount of 100 origin fruit juice and other treasures. It could be said that Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body was formed by using large amounts of top-tier resources and treasures. In terms of the soul, Zhao Feng was on par with an emperor. In fact, his soul might even be a little weaker. Unknowingly, the emperor had mostly recovered under the refinement. Originally, Zhao Feng's strength wouldn't increase by much after breaking through to the Void God realm. After all, the quality of his true yuan was comparable to a king, and it mainly increased his foundation and battle power. However, in the process of breaking through to the Void God realm, Zhao Feng used a large amount of resources, which created a chain reaction. As a result, his physique, soul, and other aspects had been greatly enhanced. My current strength should have recovered 60 to 70% of my previous life strength. In some aspects, such as physique, I have an advantage over my previous life. Zhao Feng had a rough estimate in his heart. At this moment, surges of magnificent power from the Void God realm appeared in the air above the 10,000 sacred clan, and there were 4 or 5 emperor intents among them. 10,000 sacred clan, hand over Zhao Feng of the purple-haired demonic duo. The purple-haired demonic duo have committed countless crimes in the divine illusion dimension. They have robbed everywhere and harmed the interests of many sections. They should be captured and killed as an example. Humph. How can a mere 2-star sect protect a treasure like a substandard divine artifact? The Void God realm experts of Earth Spirit Hall floated in the air and looked down arrogantly at the 10,000 sacred clan. Some of these voices didn't even try to hide their intentions to snatch the substandard God artifact. One could foresee that the world of sects in the Great Gan dynasty where the strong preyed on the weak was even crueler than the bordering seas. Whoosh! 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 The Void God realm experts of the 10,000 sacred clan had to appear in this situation. After all, the 10,000 sacred clan was a 3-star sect that had once been glorious. They had 3 emperors and more than a dozen Void God realm kings. At this moment, 2 emperors had appeared. Apart from Emperor Ling Qiong, there was also a youth in black robes. Wing boom! A white-haired old man glowing with orange light appeared in the air amidst a vast and mighty force. 2 emperors and 1 emperor projection. Hee hee. Old Monster Su, it looks like your lifespan is reaching its end after failing to break through to the mystic light realm. You can't use your full power so easily. An emperor in golden robes from Earth Spirit Hall smiled faintly. This emperor in golden robes gave off a golden light that covered half the sky and suppressed the other emperors. He was a peak emperor. Zhang Xiandong, one of the 3 peak emperors of Earth Spirit Hall. Emperor Ling Qiong and the youth in black robes next to her looked at each other with solemn expressions. The battle power of peak emperors far surpassed normal emperors, and they were extremely rare amongst Void God realm emperors. In the Lord dynasty, mystic light realm's sacred lords were usually in seclusion and comprehended the path to godhood. They rarely interfered with the outside world. Therefore, under normal situations, peak emperors were almost unrivaled in the world. The 10,000 sacred clan originally had a peak emperor, Old Monster Su. Unfortunately, his lifespan was reaching its end, so his strength was greatly reduced. The 10,000 sacred clan seems to have met some trouble. Zhao Feng walked out from the room. At this moment, the entire 10,000 sacred clan was filled with surges of magnificent power. The hearts of the disciples shook, and they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Luckily, the confrontation between these kings was taking place in the sky. Zhao Feng. Gu Chaoji from Earth Spirit Hall exclaimed as soon as Zhao Feng appeared. Gu Chaoji's eyes were filled with respect, wariness, and excitement. Back in the divine illusion dimension, Zhao Feng had interacted with Gu Chaoji before. At the last moment in Xiayang Palace, Gu Chaoji was forced by the Black Serpent Dragon to betray the humans and hand over the key to the Yuan sealing divine chains. These scenes flashed through Zhao Feng's mind. He's that Zhao Feng. One of the purple-haired demonic duo. The gazes of the kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall landed on Zhao Feng. 2 months had passed since the end of the Divine Illusion dimension, and the legends of the purple-haired demonic duo had spread throughout the upper echelon of the Great Gone Lord dynasty. Of the purple-haired demonic duo, the purple-haired youth was unfathomable, and he was even the mastermind. Some people called the purple-haired youth Zhao Feng, while others called him Zhao Feng. However, that wasn't important anymore. The important thing was that he had become one of the biggest beneficiaries of Xieyang Palace. Looks like I can't stay in the 10,000 Sacred Clan anymore. Zhao Feng murmured in a low tone. He had used the 10,000 Sacred Clan as a stepping stone to soar, but as one of the biggest beneficiaries of Xieyang Palace, he had also brought disaster to the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Zhao Feng, the 10,000 Sacred Clan probably won't be able to protect you. However, as a member of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, we will do our best to protect you. The Orange Emperor projection of Old Monster Su sent a message to Zhao Feng. In the air, the expressions of the 3 emperors from the 10,000 Sacred Clan were dim. Earth Spirit Hall was 1 star higher than the 10,000 Sacred Clan, and they had no chance of winning if they fought head-on. The fact that the 10,000 Sacred Clan was willing to help Zhao Feng escape was already the best they could do. Zhao Feng, if you can escape to the Duke's palace, you'll be able to keep your life. Emperor Ling Qiong warned. The Duke's palace was the ruling organization of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone in name, and it represented the Imperials. Escape? A mocking smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. For some reason, he thought back to the pursuit of death in the Tsang Ocean. Thank you for your good intentions. These clowns don't have the right to make me escape. Zhao Feng shook his head and smiled as he bowed slightly from Emperor Ling Qiong and company. Hearing that, the experts from both sides broke out into discussion. Arrogant brat. Arrogant brat. A brat that just became a king doesn't know how high heaven is. The kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall laughed instead of being angry. Boom whoosh, more than 10 king intent and 2 or 3 emperor intents instantly crushed toward Zhao Feng. That will pierce through the void. The soul level exploded and triggered the invisible power of Earth and Heaven Upanishad, which was enough to shatter the mountains and crack the ground. Boom! Boom! The area around Zhao Feng instantly crumbled and turned into dust under the barrage of intents. Not good. Tai Litian in dark red battle robes couldn't help but exclaim at the peak of the cloud sea. With so many king intents and emperor intents joining in, the mental energy of a normal king would crumble, and their souls might even shatter. Emperor Ling Qiong and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan were caught off guard. Zhao Feng's words enraged the crowd. The kings and martial emperors of the Earth Spirit Hall were eager to kill him and take the substandard god weapon and other treasures. Humph! Zhao Feng stood still. His soul aura was like a bottomless ocean, and his body was like an ancient mountain that wouldn't change. The pressure from the intents targeted the soul, and it was accompanied by the power of heaven and earth. However, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean when it landed on Zhao Feng. Boom! Whoosh! 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 The intents of the kings and emperors all returned after a round of attacks. How is this possible? The Void God Realm Masters of Earth Spirit Hall were speechless. Even normal emperors wouldn't be able to withstand the barrage of so many intents, and their soul would be damaged. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, was standing where he was, safe and sound, without the slightest movement. At this moment, everyone from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and Earth Spirit Hall acted as if they had seen a ghost. To be able to do this, one's soul will has reached the level of a peak emperor. Great Emperor Ling Qiong took a deep breath. In the Earth Spirit Hall, the golden-robed Emperor Zhang Xiandong and the others couldn't help but put away their underestimation. Their expressions even became solemn. At first glance, Zhao Feng had just entered virtual god level. However, if one looked closely, they would find that his true yuan was extremely condensed and stronger than normal kings. His control had reached an unbelievable level. Gu Chaoji, take your fellow disciples away. I don't want to start a massacre. Zhao Feng strolled forward and stared at Gu Chaoji. Start a massacre. Gu Chaoji's hair stood on end from his stare. For some unknown reason, under the protection of so many seniors and emperors, he didn't feel safe at all when Zhao Feng stared at him. Time seemed to return to Xiayang Palace, back to when Zhao Feng used the gaze of the God Eye to extract the souls of the Blue Serpent King and the Azure Serpent King. The fear from that time seemed to still exist until now. Start a massacre. The kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall had disdainful expressions, as if they had heard the biggest joke in the world. Right at this moment, Zhao Feng slowly took a step forward. Shwa! All that was left was an afterimage of lightning. The Void God Realm King's eyes blurred, and they weren't able to see Zhao Feng's movement at all. In the next instant, Zhao Feng appeared in the sky between the 10,000 Sacred Clan and Earth Spirit Hall. Sii. The kings and emperors from both sides took in a cold breath. There was no other reason. The speed that Zhao Feng just displayed was too shocking. Apart from the peak Emperor Zhang Xiandong of Earth Spirit Hall, all the other kings and emperors weren't as fast. Cold sweat started to appear on Gu Chaoji's forehead. Under Zhao Feng's gaze, the fear in his heart started to spread. He didn't dare to doubt that Zhao Feng had the ability to start a massacre. Earth Spirit Hall's group fell into a momentary silence. Maybe it was because of Zhao Feng's unfathomable strength, or maybe it was because of his speed. However, would a group from a 3-star power be scared by a junior that had just become a king? The answer was obvious. Chapter 878. In the air above the 10,000 Sacred Clan, whoosh. With one step, Zhao Feng appeared between the two Void God realms. Start a massacre. The experts from Earth Spirit Hall and the 10,000 Sacred Clan fell into a momentary silence. Both sides had non-committal expressions on their faces. Those from the 10,000 Sacred Clan were thinking about what Zhao Feng was planning. The kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall paused for a moment, and the mockery and disdain on their faces became even stronger. Although Zhao Feng's speed was extremely fast, he was still minuscule compared to so many Void God realms from Earth Spirit Hall, including several emperors and a peak emperor. Ha ha ha. Zhang Xiandong, the golden-robed emperor of Earth Spirit Hall, raised his head and laughed. Foolish junior, do you think that you can scare away so many people from Earth Spirit Hall with just a simple threat? The Void God Realm experts of the Earth Spirit Hall burst into laughter when they heard this. The answer was certain. How could the upper echelon of a 3-star super sect, Earth Spirit Hall, be scared off by a single sentence from a junior? However, only Gu Chaoji couldn't smile from Earth Spirit Hall's side. Scenes from the Divine Illusion dimension flashed through his mind. The purple-haired youth seemed to have an indescribable calmness and confidence at all times. Even at this moment, there wasn't any panic on his face. A faint smile appeared on the purple-haired youth's face. You won't today, but you will in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, whoosh. 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 Zhao Feng took another step forward and left behind a blurry afterimage in the air. At this moment, Zhao Feng's speed wasn't just shockingly fast, he also merged the profound laws of wind lightning and the Tao of illusions into his movement technique. Everyone, watch out. Most of the sovereign martial emperors on the Earth Spirit Hall's side could not see Zhao Feng's movement technique. Now that Zhao Feng's emperor intent had mostly recovered, he was at a higher level. Apart from the peak emperor Zhang Xiandong, no one else could compare to him. Whoosh! Suddenly, a layer of glittering golden physical force lightning patterns appeared on one of the wind lightning afterimages. That soul force electric pattern was bright gold and blue, and its power was terrifying. The moment it exploded, the sky ethereal realm nearby had a faint roar. Not good. Zhang Xiandong and the other martial emperors of the Earth Spirit Hall exclaimed at the same time. They could feel the terrifying power of the bright golden blue force. However, their warning was already too late. Boom! The instant the sacred lightning body erupted, Zhao Feng's speed increased explosively. Boom! Zhao Feng tore apart a void god realm king that was caught off guard with a single punch. Ah! The void god realm king wasn't able to block the physical force of the late stages of the 5th level of the sacred lightning body, and his body was crushed into mush. With a simple punch, Zhao Feng didn't even use True Yuan. He only used his body to kill a late-stage void god realm domain level king. Hiss! The battlefield became dead silent. Both friend and foe alike were dazed as they watched Zhao Feng kill a domain-level king with terrifying speed and power. Everyone thought that Zhao Feng would have extraordinary strength and speed. However, no one would have thought that an experienced domain-level king wouldn't even be able to fight back against Zhao Feng and would be instantly killed. Gu Chaoji's heart went cold, especially Earth Spirit Hall's Gu Chaoji. He had clearly seen Zhao Feng's nonchalant expression after killing a domain-level king. It was as if killing a domain-level king was the same as killing a pig or dog in Zhao Feng's eyes. In the divine illusion dimension, from the underground city to Xiaoyang Palace, this youth seemed to always be confident and calm. The first one. Zhao Feng's tone was calm. If you retreat now, you still have a chance. The group from Earth Spirit Hall went silent for a moment before exploding with rage and charging at Zhao Feng. This brat's speed is shocking. Surround him. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong, roared in anger. However, the purple-haired youth didn't panic at all. Instead, a smile of mockery appeared on his face. Wings of wind and lightning. A pair of lifelike wings of wind and lightning formed behind Zhao Feng's back, and they created a powerful gust of wind and lightning. At this moment, lightning clouds started to roll across heaven and earth as the water of wind and lightning of wind and lightning of wind turned into 2 beams of light that shot into the sky. The power of the wings of wind and lightning was comparable to peak emperors. Normal void god realm kings wouldn't even be able to get close to Zhao Feng. However, the wings of wind and lightning were only used by Zhao Feng to increase his speed. Pa! Whoosh! The wings of wind and lightning and the golden blue physical force pushed Zhao Feng's speed to the maximum. Stop! One of the emperors and several void god realm kings barely managed to block Zhao Feng's path. Boom! Zhao Feng wasn't scared at all. He laughed loudly and knocked away the emperor at the front. What? The void god realm emperor exclaimed as he retreated. Although Zhao Feng hadn't done any real damage to him, he was able to push away an emperor with just his physical strength alone. This was too shocking. With the wings of wind and lightning and the physical force of the sacred lightning force, Zhao Feng's speed and power were able to knock away an emperor. This scene made the expressions of the experts on both sides change dramatically. The 5th level of the sacred lightning body corresponds to the void god realm. At the late stages of the 5th level, one can fight against normal emperors with just their physical force and crush any king below the emperor realm. Zhao Feng felt the limitless power within his body. Every breath he took, every movement he made had the power to move mountains and break rivers, and he didn't need any extra true essence. This was the path that the demigod Kuan Yin walked in the past. The golden Kuan sacred lightning body that Zhao Feng cultivated was an upgraded version of the original golden Kuan body. Junior, stay. Although the emperor was pushed back, there was still a domain-level king and a peak-tier king next to him. These 2 void god realm kings specialized in speed. The emperor's attack just barely stopped Zhao Feng, giving the 2 kings a chance to stop him. Kill! Zhao Feng didn't dodge at all. He circulated his sacred lightning force and punched toward the 2 kings. The 2 void god realm kings knew how strong Zhao Feng was, so they used all their strength to defend. Illusion Maze Domain. However, the instant Zhao Feng punched out, the 2 kings' minds shook, and they fell into a maze filled with mist. They lost their senses, and their control over their physical power dropped dramatically. Arg! The two kings were engulfed by the dominating golden blue physical force. Two cries sounded at almost the same time. Boom! One late-stage Void God Realm and the other peak-tier Void God Realm died. Double kill. Emperor Ling Qiong, King Lu Yun, and company from the 10,000 sacred clan stared with open mouths. Before, Zhao Feng had killed a domain-level king with one punch. And this time, he had crushed two kings, including a peak-tier king. The third. The calm voice caused the hearts of the experts from the Earth Spirit Hall to turn cold. A junior that had just become a king instantly killed 3 Void God Realm kings. This made the kings and emperors of Earth Spirit Hall lose all face. However, this youth acted as if nothing had happened. Lightning Wings Flying Technique. The wings of wind and lightning on Zhao Feng's back fluttered and created a blurry blur as the intent of space and lightning intertwined. Shwa! Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. Junior, die. The next instant, the golden-robed Emperor Zhang Xiandong and the other 2 emperors arrived and unleashed a shocking attack. Rumble. The combined attack of the 3 emperors caused the heaven ethereal realm to tremble and give off ripples of forbidden power. The nearby kings were all sent flying. A large portion of the 10,000 sacred clans' headquarters had collapsed. This force was enough to instantly kill a normal emperor, but unfortunately, it missed. The purple-haired youth seemed to be in control of the situation, and he avoided the joint attack by a hair's breadth. Wind Lightning Wings Slash. Zhao Feng appeared on the other side of the Earth Spirit Hall group. Whoosh! The instant he appeared, a pair of sharp wings flashed past a domain-level king. Arg! The domain-level king didn't even have time to react before being sliced in half by Zhao Feng's lightning wing slash. Another cry of agony echoed in the sky. The Void God realms from Earth Spirit Hall started to panic. Every time Zhao Feng killed a king, an immortal and undying aura of God tribulation lightning would flash across his body and instantly devour the soul of the king. The fourth. His calm voice was like a death sentence, and it made the kings of Earth Spirit Hall tremble. Reality proved that no one below the emperor level could fight back against Zhao Feng. Brat! Attack us if you dare. The emperors from Earth Spirit Hall were enraged. They weren't afraid of Zhao Feng, but his speed was far faster than normal emperors, and he also had a powerful sense of prediction and smell. Shwa! 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 The golden-robed Emperor Zhang Xiandong and the other emperors split up and blocked off Zhao Feng. The other Void God Realm kings all had several emperors as their backbone. They didn't dare to be alone, and they were all on their toes. Ever since he started attacking, Zhao Feng hadn't missed a single time. It was as if he could kill a Void God Realm king every time he attacked, and he could even kill 2 kings. At this instant, the tense atmosphere reached its peak. The kings and emperors of Earth Spirit Hall were all on guard and cooperated with each other. They didn't dare to be careless. Hu Shua. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng's golden physical force body appeared once more. There were 2 or 3 Void God Realm kings near him. Dodge! The 3 Void God Realm kings acted as if they were facing a great enemy, and they all tried to dodge. Don't even think about. An emperor intent shot over from nearby, and a powerful magnificent power covered Zhao Feng's body. The kings of Earth Spirit Hall worked together in groups of 3 to 5, and there were Void God Realm emperors nearby. Brat, attack me if you dare. The emperor wearing a black battle robe roared as the image of a little world appeared behind him, and he charged toward Zhao Feng. Wu the black battle robe emperor spread his arms, and white ripples of lightning wrapped around the area dozens of miles around Zhao Feng. Ding! 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 Sparks flew from Zhao Feng's golden blue sacred lightning body, and his body became slightly numb as the white ripples of lightning wrapped around him, slowing him down. Success. The Void God Realm Kings of Earth Spirit Hall revealed overjoyed expressions. I'm going to kill you. Zhao Feng's purple hair blew in the wind, and a cold purple light flashed through his left eye. His sacred lightning body became taller, and he was like a small giant as a blood-colored light that covered the sun released from his body. Chapter 879. While everyone from Earth Spirit Hall was overjoyed, Zhao Feng charged toward the black-robed emperor instead of retreating. At that moment, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body expanded once more and turned into a small giant. He circulated his blood devil sun bloodline and released a blinding blood-colored light. Ding! 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 Boom! The white ripples of lightning didn't affect Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body at all. This black-robed emperor specialized in the Tao of lightning, which could trap normal emperors, but it was useless against Zhao Feng. How is this possible? The black-robed emperor realized that something was wrong. He found that Zhao Feng's body had a strong resistance against the Tao of lightning, and he could even absorb the power within it for himself. In the blink of an eye, boom! The wings of wind and lightning on the back of a small giant created a gust of wind and lightning, and the burst of speed made all the emperors present exclaim. After recultivating, Zhao Feng's wind lightning technique had inherited the speed of the original wind lightning inheritance. His body was even stronger, and with the help of the blood devil sun bloodline, his speed was even more terrifying. The black-robed emperor was caught off guard and was unable to dodge. He was hit by a ball of blazing blood-colored light, and explosions sounded. Illusion Maze Domain. When the attack arrived, a powerful Soul Dao domain ignored the restrictions of the small world and enveloped the emperor in black battle robes. Even the black-robed emperor's senses went into chaos, and he wasn't able to completely stop the Illusion Maze domain. Boom! Wah! The black-robed emperor was stunned as he was pushed back several hundred yards and spat out a mouthful of blood. A layer of blood-colored flame spread across his body as he was pushed back. A portion of his yuan qi and blood quickly disappeared, and his expression became ugly. The black-robed emperor was severely injured by Zhao Feng, and he immediately coughed out a mouthful of blood. How is this possible? The Earth Spirit Hall Void God Realm experts exclaimed in shock. Emperor Ling Qiong and the other kings and emperors from the 10,000 sacred clan were dazed. Blood Devil Sun. The perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline that surpassed the peak of the era. Above the sea of clouds, Tai Litian, the emperor of the Tai family, revealed an expression of shock, excitement, and joy. The might of Zhao Feng's Blood Devil Sun bloodline was beyond imagination. Every time he launched an attack, he would ignite his target's entire body and burn their blood essence. What was even more unbelievable was that, every time Zhao Feng's Blood Devil Sun bloodline attacked at close range, he could absorb his opponent's life force. At this moment, not only did Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body and Blood Devil Sun bloodline not drop after unleashing their full power, but it became even stronger. Bathing in blood and fighting bravely, the more you fight, the braver you become. Such a bloodline born for battle cannot be allowed to die, let alone spread outside of the Tai family. Tai Litian was extremely excited, and his body trembled. The Blood Devil Sun bloodline's explosive attacks were unparalleled, but its weakness was that it could not last long. However, with Zhao Feng's perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline, even if he was heavily injured, he could use his bloodline to attack and recover his yuan qi quickly. The foundation of the sacred lightning body, the explosive power of the Blood Devil Sun bloodline, and the speed of the wind lightning technique. Zhao Feng was like a winged Blood Devil Sun bloodline giant that stood proudly in the air. His cultivation technique and bloodline combined allowed him to unleash unparalleled battle power. He was able to severely injure an emperor just now, even if it was due to the element of surprise. The late stages of the 5th level of the sacred lightning body allowed Zhao Feng to dominate almost everyone at the Void God realm, and he could even fight against emperors head-on. The explosive power of the Blood Devil Sun bloodline and the burning, igniting, and sucking of life force allowed his battle power to explode endlessly. The speed, changes, and intent that the wind lightning technique brought was enough for Zhao Feng to move through the crowd of kings and emperors without fear. The heart of the black-robed emperor, who had been heavily injured, shook, and his battle intent disappeared by half. Stall him for a few breaths. The other emperors of Earth Spirit Hall recovered from their shock and surrounded Zhao Feng from different directions. The black-robed emperor also understood that he wouldn't be able to defeat this monstrous youth by himself. Die! The blazing sun giant that Zhao Feng had turned into created a gust of wind and lightning as he charged over with unavoidable speed. Boom! The powerful aura caused the black-robed emperor's blood to fluctuate, and his body to become heavy. This pressure came from the sacred lightning body and the Blood Devil Sun bloodline. It won't be that easy to kill me. The black-robed emperor snickered coldly. It wasn't a coincidence that any Void God Realm emperor had reached the peak of their soul and intent. When the black-robed emperor crossed his arms in front of his chest, and a bright white armor of lightning covered his body. White snakes of lightning several hundred yards long extended from him and blocked off Zhao Feng's path of attack. This strategy of attacking and defending was the best choice. Humph! Mockery appeared in the eyes of the blazing sun giant that Zhao Feng had turned into. Pine! Pine! Wherever he passed, the mountains and rivers would be flattened. The entangling white lightning snakes were directly smashed apart by his domineering physique and the power of the blazing flames. What a powerful offense! The illusion of a little world appeared behind the black-robed emperor, and he panicked as he retreated. Although Zhao Feng was quickly approaching, the black-robed emperor's goal was about to be achieved. He only needed to stall for a few breaths. Even if his injuries worsened, he still needed to stall for a few breaths. Right at this moment, the situation started to change. Mental energy spike. An invisible spike that looked like a cold purple crystal shot out from Zhao Feng's left eye and into the black-robed emperor's soul. Arg! The black-robed emperor screamed. The giant mental energy spike was condensed to the limit and became like a crystal. It was accompanied by an immortal and undying eye intent. In that instant, the black-robed emperor's soul was pierced through, and the power of the god tribulation lightning almost caused his soul to shatter. When several hundred wisps of god tribulation lightning auras suddenly flashed within Zhao Feng's purple soul sea. At this moment, the power of the god tribulation lightning he could use was close to what he needed to chase after the Emperor of Death. Boom! The next instant, the blazing sun giant that Zhao Feng had turned into slammed into the black-robed emperor. No! The other emperors that were approaching couldn't help but roar as they revealed expressions of unwillingness. However, at this moment the black-robed emperor's soul was about to shatter, and his body was severely injured. He was instantly killed by Zhao Feng without any resistance. The fifth. An ordinary voice resounded throughout the entire arena. Emperor! A great emperor had fallen. Both sides fell into a dead silence. Waves of shock appeared in the hearts of everyone from the 10,000 sacred clan. The hearts of the void god realms from Earth Spirit Hall went cold, and a shadow of fear spread across their bodies. He started a massacre. He actually. Gu Chaoji's face was gray, and his body started to tremble. He didn't dare to participate in the pursuit of Zhao Feng. Back in Xiayang Palace, the other member of the purple-haired demonic duo, Nan Gongsheng, had also started a massacre after being affected by the power of the evil god. At that time, Zhao Feng stopped the massacre. And now, the purple-haired demonic duo was even more mysterious. As the mastermind, he also started a merciless massacre. His targets this time weren't the new geniuses, but the kings and emperors of the older generation. Shua! The wings of wind and lightning on Zhao Feng's back fluttered, and he left behind an afterimage as he easily threw off the emperors that were charging at him. Brat, don't even think about running. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong and company, missed once again. On the other side, after Zhao Feng appeared, he could easily kill a normal king with a slash of his wings or a charge from his sacred lightning body. Whoosh! 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 The youth with the wings of lightning could easily kill a Void God Realm expert every time he appeared. The number of Void God Realm experts from the Earth Spirit Hall was decreasing bit by bit. The entire situation was controlled by Zhao Feng. Apart from Zhang Xiandong, who didn't offend the Peak Emperor, Zhao Feng would kill all the other kings and emperors whenever he had the chance. In just the time it took to make tea, over half of the Void God Realm experts from Earth Spirit Hall had been killed by Zhao Feng. Among them, he had killed 16 Void God Realm kings, 2 emperors, and 1 was severely injured. Normal Void God Realm emperors could be instantly killed by Zhao Feng with his Eye Bloodline and God Tribulation Lightning. One of the heavily injured emperors only managed to survive because he had a powerful life-saving secret technique. Stop! The remaining emperors from Earth Spirit Hall, led by Zhang Xiandong, roared with bloodshot eyes. Apart from anger, there was also helplessness and pleading in their voices. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong, ordered the remaining kings and emperors to gather together and form a defensive barrier. At this moment in time, Earth Spirit Hall didn't dare to think about killing Zhao Feng anymore. They were already lucky to be able to leave alive. It doesn't matter if you gather together or split up, you won't be able to escape from me. Zhao Feng floated in the air as his left eye contracted. He had expended a lot of energy from the continuous slaughter. Luckily, he had the Blood Devil Sun Bloodline's life-steal ability. After saying this, Zhao Feng took out the sky-locking bow and locked onto a few targets within Earth Spirit Hall. If everyone from Earth Spirit Hall gathered together, Zhao Feng could use his sky-locking bow and his left eye to kill them one by one. If these people split up, it would be even easier for Zhao Feng to kill them one by one. As long as he left a mark of the God Eye on these people, Zhao Feng would be able to kill them one by one before they could escape back to the clan. Zhao Feng, you don't really want to slaughter these people, do you? Emperor Ling Qiong and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan all took in cold breaths. The group that Earth Spirit Hall had sent out could already crush a 2-star force like the 10,000 Sacred Clan. However, they were completely helpless against Zhao Feng, and they were slaughtered one by one. He definitely has the ability to do so. Gu Chaoji's face was pale white, and his voice trembled within Earth Spirit Hall. In his impression, Nan Gongxing of the purple-haired demonic duo was extremely cruel and bloodthirsty. The other Zhao Feng was unfathomable, and he rarely fought. He wasn't bloodthirsty either. However, when the leader of the purple-haired demonic duo started a massacre, Gu Chaoji finally understood what terror was. Zhao Feng's expression was calm throughout the entire process, as if nothing had happened. The mental pressure he exerted made the remaining kings and emperors of Earth Spirit Hall fall into despair. Chapter 880. In the air, the Void God Realm emperors and kings from Earth Spirit Hall had all gathered together. However, the remaining dozen or so people didn't feel safe at all. Their faces were filled with anger, fear, and fear. On the field, there was a stifling silence. Cold sweat appeared on the foreheads of the kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall. Many of them felt regret and despair. If they could go back to before Zhao Feng started his massacre, they would run as far away as they could. They wouldn't fight this nightmarish youth head-on. However, Zhao Feng had already started his massacre. Even if they ran in all directions, they wouldn't have a chance. At this point in time, no one doubted that Zhao Feng had the ability to do so. Zhao Feng, don't be rash. Killing all these people won't benefit you or the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Emperor Ling Qiong and the other Void God Realm upper echelon members of the 10,000 Sacred Clan felt uneasy and sweated. No matter what, Earth Spirit Hall was a 3-star superpower. One of the requirements to become a 3-star superpower was to have the power of a mystic light realm. These kings and emperors were just a portion of Earth Spirit Hall's forces. Zhao Feng held the sky-locking bow as his left eye locked onto the group from Earth Spirit Hall. His expression didn't change at all, but the killing intent radiating from his body didn't disappear. Zhao Feng wasn't like Nan Gongsheng, he wasn't a bloodthirsty person. However, when his enemies wanted to kill him for his treasures, he wouldn't show any mercy. I've already killed half of them. Zhao Feng didn't care, and a cold purple light appeared in his left eye. The 3 emperors from the 10,000 sacred clan felt helpless. From beginning to end, the 10,000 sacred clan was dazed as they watched Zhao Feng slaughter the forces of Earth Spirit Hall by himself. Within the clan, the expressions of the disciples that were familiar with Zhao Feng, such as Kong Feiling, Huang Yunhu, Lu Tianfan, Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian, and company, changed dramatically. They felt like they were in a dream. Tell me, this isn't real. This isn't a dream. Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian, Lu Tianfan, and company, who were once enemies with Zhao Feng, shuddered. Their voices trembled as they spoke. As Zhao Feng spoke, the group from Earth Spirit Hall fell into despair. Yes, since he had already killed half of them, Zhao Feng wouldn't be stingy with the other half. Is there really no way to stop him? The golden-robed Emperor Zhang Xiandong felt helpless. As a peak emperor, he wasn't afraid of fighting Zhao Feng head-on, even if his chances of winning weren't high. The speed that Zhao Feng displayed were already at the level of emperors, so there was nothing he could do. Most emperors would find it hard to block Zhao Feng's left eye bloodline. However, the problem was, Zhao Feng would definitely kill all the other kings and great earths before attacking Zhang Xiandong, the strongest peak emperor. Emperor Zhang Heyi, left god, and Zhao Zhao Zhao. Spirit, Zhang, spirit realm, and Zhang. Zhao Feng was still a distance away from his peak, mainly in terms of his soul. Even so, if he went all out, he was confident he could kill an ordinary peak martial emperor within 100 moves. He's ridiculously powerful. Tai Litian, who was above the clouds, took a deep breath, the perfect blood devil sun bloodline, a powerful lightning Dao body tempering technique, and a transcendent left eye bloodline. If this person can return to the Tai family, he will definitely become a supreme figure who will decide the fate of the continent zone in the future. However, Tai Litian was not confident in convincing Zhao Feng to return to the Tai clan. With such terrifying strength and potential, even a mystic light realm's sacred lord grand elder of the Tai family would come personally to invite him. Just when everyone's hearts were hanging in suspense, whoosh, a majestic aura came from afar that suppressed normal great emperors. Even some peak great emperors were intimidated by it. In an instant, the various powers in the world fell into an indescribable throbbing stagnation. Stop! A dignified male voice resounded through the clouds, descending upon the soul and material planes at the same time. The people from both sides, including Tai Litian, shuddered. That's... Even Zhang Xiandong, who was a peak emperor, felt pressured. This aura had probably touched the level of a mystic light realm. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. The aura of this newcomer was shocking, and it wasn't any weaker than the Emperor of Death. In some aspects, it might even be stronger. If the owner of this aura came from Earth Spirit Hall, then things would become troublesome. However, at the same time, Zhao Feng felt that this aura was slightly familiar. Great! The golden-robed Great Emperor, Zhang Xiandong, revealed a look of delight as if he recognized the newcomer. At the same time, several thousand miles away, I hope I can make it in time. A dignified male wearing a luxurious golden robe gave off a dragon-like aura and the invisible draconic providence of the Lord Dynasty. Wherever the dignified man went, the countless living beings in the territory of the dynasty instinctively prostrated themselves in worship. So, it's Duke Nanfeng. Zhao Feng's left eye bloodline was extremely far away, so he was able to recognize the newcomer. The ruler of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. No wonder he has such a powerful aura and Lord Dynasty Providence. Tai Litian from the Tai family finally understood. In terms of speed, Duke Nanfeng wasn't much slower than Zhao Feng, and he soon arrived at the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Good. Duke Nanfeng's gaze landed on Zhao Feng, and he let out a breath when he saw that the latter was safe. He had rushed over because he had received news that Zhao Feng was in danger and was surrounded by King Martial Emperors from Earth Spirit Hall. After hearing this news, he even stopped trying to break through to the Mystic Light Realm and rushed over as fast as he could. After all, he owed Zhao Feng a favor, and he wouldn't be able to rest easy if Zhao Feng died. Furthermore, this might be a chance to repay the favor and rope in Zhao Feng. However, when Duke Nanfeng arrived at the 10,000 Sacred Clan, he felt that something was wrong. Zhao Feng was safe and held the sky-locking bow. His eyes were cold and calm as he looked at those from Earth Spirit Hall. On the other hand, those from Earth Spirit Hall all had expressions of fear and panic, and there were many injured emperors and kings. These kings and emperors gathered together and were uneasy. They didn't feel safe facing the purple-haired youth at all. Duke Nanfeng could even smell the tattered soul aura of a fallen void god realm. Duke Nanfeng. You came just in time. Come and save us. This madman has already slaughtered half of our void god realm experts, and he still wants to kill us all. The golden-robed emperor and 2 other emperors from Earth Spirit Hall exclaimed for help. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong, seemed to know Duke Nanfeng, and their relationship seemed to be pretty good. Duke Nanfeng froze for a while as the kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall begged for help, and his expression seemed to choke with tears. You are begging for help? Duke Nanfeng's face twitched as his gaze swept over Earth Spirit Hall and landed on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was expressionless, but killing intent flashed in his eyes. It was obvious that he was the stronger side. Those from the Earth Spirit Hall were shocked and terrified. They placed all their hopes of survival on Duke Nanfeng. Duke Nanfeng, we've known each other for several hundred years. Help me stop this madman. I'll owe you a favor. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong, said sincerely. Although he and Duke Nanfeng weren't very close, they were still quite familiar with each other. There were only a few peak emperors near the ocean, and they all knew each other. At this moment in time, everyone's gazes landed on Duke Nanfeng. Duke Nanfeng was a very important person. Firstly, he was the ruler of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. Secondly, his strength was slightly stronger than normal peak emperors, and he had the providence of the Lord Dynasty. No one doubted that Duke Nanfeng had the strength and qualifications to do so. Brother Zhao, how long has it been since we last met? You've already killed so many King Martial Emperors from Earth Spirit Hall. Duke Nanfeng had a weird expression as he looked at Zhao Feng with a bitter smile. He originally wanted to save Zhao Feng, but he didn't expect to see such a scene. Who was the one that needed saving more? Duke Nanfeng, you know each other. The golden-robed emperor, Zhang Xiandong, and company were all stunned, and some of them even had sad expressions. After fighting for so long, they felt like a flood had rushed into the temple of the Dragon King. This outcome made Zhang Xiandong and company feel very uncomfortable. Your Highness, you don't know. These people came to kill me first, so I started killing them. I even warned them before I attacked. Zhao Feng put away the sky-locking bow and said slowly. Hearing that, those from Earth Spirit Hall were speechless, and they were filled with regret. Before he attacked, Zhao Feng had warned them that he didn't want to start a massacre. However, these people felt disdain at that time. Brother Zhao, can you give me some face and let them go for now? After this, I will invite you to my palace. Duke Nanfeng had a bitter expression as he sent a divine sense message. Sure, but these people must promise not to offend the 10,000 Sacred Clan or be my enemy in the future. Zhao Feng nodded his head. He wasn't a bloodthirsty person, and he had already killed half of these people. The Tianfeng Great Island Zone was under Duke Nanfeng's control, so he should give him some face. Hearing that, those from Earth Spirit Hall felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted off their shoulders. We can only promise ourselves. We can't represent the entire Earth Spirit Hall. Zhang Xiandong, the golden-robed emperor of Earth Spirit Hall, replied in a solemn tone. Although he was a peak emperor, he didn't have the absolute right to speak in Earth Spirit Hall. Zhao Feng understood that as long as these people could promise, it would be fine. Duke Nanfeng and the other experts of the 10,000 Sacred Clan were witnesses. Whoosh! 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 Soon, the Earth Spirit Hall's sovereign martial emperors retreated in a sorry state. These sovereign martial emperors showed regret on their faces or intense dissatisfaction in their hearts. Although we can't do anything to that Zhao Feng, and we promised not to become enemies with him again, we can't do anything to him. However, as long as the Mystic Light Realm Grand Elder comes out of seclusion, dealing with a small king will be easy. Many of the Earth Spirit Hall survivors were filled with resentment. Zhao Feng killed so many king martial emperors of Earth Spirit Hall. That Mystic Light Realm ancestor definitely won't forgive him after he comes out of seclusion. Gu Chaoji muttered in his heart. But for some reason, every time he thought of that youth, there would be an indescribable shadow of unease and fear in his heart. In the air above the 10,000 Sacred Clan, it's time to leave. Zhao Feng's golden blue figure floated in the air and scanned the familiar and unfamiliar faces within the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Emperor Ling Qiong and company from the 10,000 Sacred Clan weren't surprised, and they let out a long breath. The 10,000 Sacred Clan definitely wouldn't be able to contain a dragon like Zhao Feng. Furthermore, the purple-haired demonic duo had offended so many super forces. A measly 2-star sect definitely wouldn't be able to protect them. The past Zhao Feng has already passed away. My name is Zhao Feng, and I am the left-eyed heavenly emperor of the Tsang Ocean. A clear voice sounded across heaven and earth. Chapter 881. The past Zhao Feng has already passed away. My name is Zhao Feng, and I am the left-eyed heavenly emperor of the Tsang Ocean. His voice sounded across heaven and earth and passed through the soul dimension. Within a radius of several thousand kilometers, countless intelligent beings, not just humans, could clearly understand the meaning of these words. Hearing this, the hearts of the experts present, including Emperor Ling Qiong and King Lu Yun from the 10,000 Sacred Clan, Duke Nanfeng, and Tai Litian shook. Zhao Feng's voice was, without a doubt, a declaration to the outside world. He was announcing his true self. The original Zhao Feng had already passed away. Although he had inherited this body, the soul and intent were the true essence of a person. Zhao Feng didn't want to continue living under someone else's name and mission. Furthermore, his true identity was close to being exposed in a small circle. He couldn't keep it a secret for too long. So that's how it is. The elders and disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan that were familiar with Zhao Feng understood and sighed in their hearts with complex expressions. Thinking about it, it made sense. How could such a heaven-defying genius appear in the world? In just a short year, he had gone from a true spirit realm junior to a king and had the battle power to kill emperors. Now, many questions have been answered. Duke Nanfeng revealed an understanding expression. In the world of cultivation, it wasn't strange for someone at the Void God realm to steal someone else's body. Before, Zhao Feng and Princess Yuqing were very close. Duke Nanfeng had obviously sent people to investigate his identity since he was able to revive the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly at such a young age. The results of the investigation revealed that Zhao Feng was full of questions. But now, with the revelation of Zhao Feng's true identity, the truth was revealed. What's going on? Tai Litian's expression was apprehensive. This sudden turn of events had caught him off guard. Shua! Tai Litian waved his hand, and an old figure jumped out of the little world. It was Grandpa Zhao. Indeed. Grandpa Zhao smiled bitterly, and his expression was complicated. Feng was killed by the Yin clan. After his death, an almighty being from beyond the heavens took over his body. Then the Blood Devil Sun bloodline. Tai Litian's eyes shone brightly. What he cared about the most was the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. Zhao Feng's life and death were secondary. The Blood Devil Sun family bloodline only appeared after he descended. Grandpa Zhao answered honestly. Before Zhao Feng's reincarnation, although his talent was decent, he didn't have such a powerful bloodline. When Tai Litian heard this, he could not help but fall into deep thought. He suspected that something had happened after Zhao Feng's arrival that had awakened the latent bloodline in this body. It was even possible that Zhao Feng possessed some kind of secret technique that could awaken and evolve his bloodline. In fact, there were many living beings in the world that more or less had bloodline factors in their bodies. It was just that they were extremely thin or in a recessive state, and it was very likely that they would never awaken in their lifetime. This Zhao Feng stole someone else's body and came back to life. He must have been a peak emperor or even a mystic light realm's sacred lord. Tai Litian took a deep breath. Things had become complicated. Zhao Feng had come back to life through stealing someone else's body, so he didn't have a true sense of belonging to the Tai family or the Zhao family. In this situation, it would be even more difficult for him to return to the Tai family. Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian. Zhao Feng stood proudly in the air, but his eyes were locked onto a scared figure in the crowd below. Arg! Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian was so scared that his soul almost flew away, and he knelt on the ground. Zhao Feng snickered coldly and released a surge of magnificent power that covered Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian. My lord, spare me. Emperor Zhao, spare me. Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian couldn't fight back at all and was lifted into the air. No one from the 10,000 sacred clan dared to stop him. The expression of King Lu Qiong, Guang Tian's master, changed dramatically, but he didn't dare to make a sound. Zhao Feng's death was related to your collusion with the Yin family. As the new host of this body, I obviously won't let you go. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. Now that the truth had been revealed, the time was right. There were some things that Zhao Feng didn't need to be afraid of exposing them to the public and solving them together. Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian's face was pale white. Under Zhao Feng's intent, he couldn't even think of lying or arguing. Die. With a thought from Zhao Feng, Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian was crushed by the invisible magnificent power of heaven and earth. When one reached the void god realm, their soul would change. Their soul would merge into the center of heaven and earth, and they would be able to use the power of heaven and earth with a thought. This was where the magnificent power of kings came from. Emperors had reached the peak of their soul, and they could use even more magnificent power. As for mystic light realm's sacred lords, they were at an even higher level. Apparently, even their true yuan and life force in the physical dimension could be merged into the laws of heaven and earth. At that level, they could suppress all kinds of power in heaven and earth with just a thought. The physical dimension would leave the realm of mortals and approach the domain of gods. Of course, Zhao Feng only knew a little about this. The bee queen that he had met in Xiayang Palace had reached the level of a mystic light realm's sacred lord, but it was a race that relied on reproduction to survive. It didn't have much battle power and didn't know how to use its own power. Boom! Under the shaking of the magnificent power, Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian was killed by Zhao Feng with a thought and turned into dust. Everyone below kings were ants. Even in the continent zone, void god realm kings were unreachable existences to billions of cultivators. Void god realm kings were rare even in the normal regions of the continent zone. However, as Zhao Feng reached a higher level, the people and circles he would meet in the future would become more and more powerful. Plop! Plop! Some members of the 10,000 sacred clan, such as Huang Yinhu, Wang Yuan, and company, suddenly knelt on the ground. Mercy! Emperor Zhao, mercy! These people had some enmity with Zhao Feng in the past, and they all pleaded guilty. No one in the 10,000 sacred clan could stop Zhao Feng from killing people. Putting aside normal members, Zhao Feng could even kill Void God Realm kings if he wanted to. Just now, when Zhao Feng killed senior martial brother Guang Tian, his master, King Lu Qiong, didn't say anything and didn't dare to stop him. Although senior martial brother Guang Tian was only an in-name disciple of a king, one could see how strong Zhao Feng was. The original Zhao Feng has passed away. From today onwards, I will leave the 10,000 sacred clan. An emotionless voice resounded across the 10,000 sacred clan. Zhao Feng didn't bother with Huang Yunhu and company. The enmity from before was just a small fight between disciples. He didn't put it to heart at all with his current status. Leave the 10,000 sacred clan. The hearts of everyone in the 10,000 sacred clan, from the outer disciples to the kings and emperors, shook. One had to say, it was a big loss for the 10,000 sacred clan for such an expert to leave the clan. However, only a small number of people in the 10,000 sacred clan could guess Zhao Feng's intentions. After the divine illusion dimension, the purple-haired demonic duo had offended many super forces. The tiny 10,000 sacred clan couldn't protect Zhao Feng at all. Although Zhao Feng's actions seemed heartless, he was actually drawing a line between himself and the 10,000 sacred clan so that they wouldn't be affected. This Zhao Feng cares about his friends and has his principles. However, the name Left-Eyed Heavenly Emperor sounds familiar. Duke Nanfeng had a praising expression as he started to think. The Tsang Ocean was relatively far away from the continent zone. There was also the Nanlin Sea in between. The name Left-Eyed Heavenly Emperor had only appeared in the Tsang Ocean a few years ago. Only a small number of people in the Nanlin Sea knew of this name. However, only a small number of people near the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, such as intelligence agencies, knew of this name. Zhao Feng, the 10,000 sacred clan won't keep you any longer. No matter what happens in the future, you were once a member of this clan. Old Monster Su's magnificent power projection floated in the air and sighed. This old Monster Su was originally a peak emperor of the 10,000 sacred clan, but he had failed to break through to the mystic light realm and was reaching the end of his lifespan. What he meant was that he hoped that Zhao Feng would be able to help him. With Zhao Feng's potential and fortune, his future would be limitless. If Zhao Feng reached an even higher level in the future, he hoped that Zhao Feng would take care of the 10,000 sacred clan. Spatial movement. A ripple of water suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye as it locked onto a certain forbidden ground within the 10,000 sacred clan. An old person sitting cross-legged within the forbidden ground suddenly realized that a small jade bottle had appeared in front of him. This old figure was Old Monster Su from the 10,000 sacred clan. He instinctively grabbed the small jade bottle, and he could faintly see the half-frozen multicolored liquid within. Your lifespan is reaching the end of your lifespan unless you break through to the mystic light realm. Since we're from the same clan, I'll give this bottle of 100 origin sacred honey to you for now. A faint voice sounded next to Old Monster Su's ears. 100 origin sacred honey. Old Monster Su's body started to tremble, and his face was filled with joy. The excitement in his heart was indescribable. Of course, this isn't just because we're from the same clan. If you manage to break through, I'll order you around 3 times in the future. Zhao Feng's voice continued to sound. No problem. As long as I can break through, you'll be my second parent. So what if you order me around 10 times or 30 times? Old Monster Su suppressed the excitement in his heart. He didn't even need to guess to know that the 100 origin sacred honey definitely came from the divine illusion dimension. In an environment like the continent zone, it was almost impossible for such a precious holy elixir to appear. Just keep this promise in your heart. Zhao Feng's voice disappeared from Old Monster Su's ears. When one reached Old Monster Su's and Zhao Feng's level, any promise would have the same effect as swearing on their heart demons. Furthermore, old monster Su was making a promise when his lifespan was reaching the end. In the air above the 10,000 sacred clan, Zhao Feng's figure floated higher and higher as he said goodbye to the members of the 10,000 sacred clan. From this moment onwards, he would officially leave the 10,000 sacred clan. Adding on the fact that he had reincarnated, it was very unlikely that the other forces would chase after him in Duke Nanfeng's territory. On the other side, Duke Nanfeng and Tai Litian couldn't help but feel expectant. Where would Zhao Feng go after leaving the 10,000 sacred clan? Duke Nanfeng had a smile on his face and was about to speak. Whoosh! Suddenly, a blazing red figure flashed over and arrived at Zhao Feng's side. Zhao Feng, please listen to me. Tai Litian took in a deep breath and spoke before Duke Nanfeng could. Chapter 882. Zhao Feng, please listen to me. Tai Litian spoke first and made Duke Nanfeng pause. Although he was slightly unhappy, he didn't show it. Duke Nanfeng also knew this great emperor of the Tai family. The Tai family was located in the northwestern part of the Great Gon Lord dynasty, and they were one of the main pillars against the Dark Moon Lord dynasty. What do you want? Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed as he inspected Tai Litian. Before this, he was in seclusion and didn't pay much attention to Tai Litian. He didn't expect Tai Litian to be so patient and wait near the 10,000 sacred clan. Zhao Feng, no matter who your true identity is, this body's bloodline comes from the Tai family. The bloodline of this body originates from the Tai family. Even your biological mother is still alive. It's hard to cut off this bloodline. Tai Litian said in a sincere tone. Tai family's bloodline. Birth mother. Hearing that, Duke Nanfeng's face was filled with shock. Things seemed to have become complicated. He expected that Zhao Feng had taken over this body and reincarnated. Now that he had taken over this body, the truth would be revealed. What was unexpected was, the Tai family was ranked at the top of the 8 big families. Even the Great Gon Imperials had to give them some face. The Tai family was one of the top families among the 8 great families. Even the Great Qian royal family had to show them some respect. According to what Duke Nanfeng knew, the Tai family was extremely strict when it came to controlling their bloodline. Under normal situations, it was extremely rare for their bloodline to be leaked out. Even if they did, they would be severely punished. Under normal circumstances, it was extremely rare for the bloodline to be passed on to outsiders. Even if there were, they would be severely punished. He always thought that his parents were dead and that he wouldn't be able to see them again. Grandpa Zhao bowed and said with a trembling voice. He looked at Tai Litian calmly, "You want me to join the Tai family?" He looked at Tai Litian calmly. "You want me to join the Tai clan? You want me to join the Tai family?" Tai Litian was excited. This was the goal that he had come up with all kinds of methods to achieve. Zhao Feng, now that you've offended 9 Darkness Palace and other super forces, normal forces won't be able to protect you. However, if you join the Tai family, not many forces will dare to touch the disciples of the Tai family. Tai Litian's voice was sonorous, and his tone was filled with great confidence. The Tai clan was famous for being powerful in the Great Qian dynasty. They were at least at the peak of a 3-star sect, and they were not afraid of fighting even a 4-star sect. If Zhao Feng joined the Tai family, he would indeed receive the greatest protection. Thank you for your kindness, but I already have a destination in mind. I can't join the Tai family. Zhao Feng shook his head without hesitation. Back in the true martial sacred land, Zhao Feng had once told his master, Duan Muqing, and Zhao Yufei that he would go to the Duanmu family after confirming the fate of his fiancée, Lu Qinqin. Duan Muqing, the Purple Saint Partial Spirit, and Zhao Yufei all wanted to revive the Duanmu family. Zhao Feng would also help without any reason. After all, the Purple Saint Partial Spirit and Duan Muqing had helped Zhao Feng a lot back then. You actually, Tai Litian's face was filled with disappointment and grief. However, in front of Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng, he couldn't do anything. Tai Litian and Duke Nanfeng were both surprised that Zhao Feng had a destination in the Lord dynasty. Duke Nanfeng thought that he had to investigate the left-eyed heavenly emperor Zhao Feng's identity. Although the Tsang Ocean was far away from the Lord dynasty, some intelligence agencies would definitely have news about the left-eyed heavenly emperor. I'm sorry. Zhao Feng was slightly regretful, and he paused for a moment before continuing, I'm no longer the original Zhao Feng. Everything that happened in the past will be cut in half. The moment he corrected himself, he had this intention. From now on, everything about the original Zhao Feng would be in the past. Cut in half. Tai Litian shook his head and smiled as he watched Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin leave. He murmured, Zhao Feng, you're thinking too simply. With the strict control the continent families have over their bloodline, how could the Tai family let the strongest bloodline go? Indeed. Zhao Feng's thoughts on this matter were very simple. The Lord dynasty, the Imperials, and the 8 big families all placed great importance on bloodlines. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng flew away from the 10,000 sacred clan. Before they left, Zhao Feng gently waved his arm guard and left a spatial mark near the 10,000 sacred clan. With the misty spatial world, as long as Zhao Feng became stronger in the future, he would be able to instantly arrive here no matter how far he was. Zhao Feng, I'll need you to help me take care of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Duke Nanfeng had a grateful expression. Just a moment ago, Zhao Feng had agreed to go to Duke Nanfeng's palace through divine sense. Half a month ago, Duke Nanfeng's cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had recovered after being nurtured by a large amount of resources. It had just recovered not long ago. Duke Nanfeng impatiently told the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly to secrete some origin pollen to help him break through to the mystic light realm. The origin pollen that the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly secreted had a similar effect to the 100 origin sacred honey. It had a unique effect in forming a mystic light sacred body and merging the soul and body into one. Furthermore, the method to obtain this origin pollen was extremely strict. Each cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly could only secrete it 2 or 3 times in its life. Every time it secreted it, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly would be heavily injured. It's just a small effort. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. At this moment, he understood why Duke Nanfeng placed so much importance on the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was a bloodline race on the 10,000 ancient races. It was extremely old, had strong battle power, and had unique abilities. This was especially true for its support abilities. The cloud silkworm Saint Silk that the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly spat out was extremely unique. It was a material used to create top-tier defensive armors. The main material of the cloud silkworm Saint Robe that Nan Gongsheng obtained from the divine illusion dimension was also the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's cloud silkworm Saint Silk. Zhao Feng, there are some things that I have to warn you about. Duke Nanfeng spoke on the way back. Please tell me, Duke, Zhao Feng said in surprise. You've killed so many kings and emperors from Earth Spirit Hall. Being a 3-star power, they have a strong foundation, and they have a mystic light realm sacred lord behind them. They probably won't let you go so easily. Duke Nanfeng warned in a solemn tone. 3-star powers had a very important status even in the Lord dynasty. They could at least influence the fate of an entire area. After all, there were too few 4-star powers. The number of 4-star powers didn't even exceed one's fingers. I understand. Zhao Feng's heart shook. He was already prepared for this. Zhao Feng knew how strong a 3-star power was. He had stayed in the 3-star mystic true sacred clan before. No matter how strong Zhao Feng was, he was still at the void god realm. Mystic light realm sacred lords were mostly in seclusion and weren't very interested in the matters of the world. However, once a mystic light realm sacred lord interfered, they would suppress everything with their unrivaled aura. 3-star powers would wait for a mystic light realm sacred lord to come out of seclusion to deal with some troublesome matters that peak emperors couldn't solve. In the past, the Wind Lightning Emperor and the Pirate Emperor both died to mystic light realm sacred lords. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. The Wind Lightning Emperor was a peak emperor and was said to be the fastest emperor. The Pirate Emperor was an array grandmaster, and he had once excavated the secret dimension of the Heaven's Legacy City. These two legendary emperors were legends of an era, but they both died at the hands of a mystic light realm sacred lord. From this, one could see that mystic light realm sacred lords were basically unrivaled in the world. Even demigods were at the mystic light realm, but they were closer to the heavenly divine realm than normal sacred lords. However, Zhao Feng, you don't need to worry. As long as you stay in my palace, normal 3-star powers won't dare to do anything to you. Duke Nanfeng said with a faint smile. His identity was very noble, and he was brothers with the sacred emperor of the Great Gon Lord dynasty. Furthermore, Duke Nanfeng himself was very strong, and he had the providence of the Lord dynasty on him. He was half a step into the mystic light realm. This time, the reason Duke Nanfeng returned to the Duke's palace was to use the origin pollen of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly to break through to the mystic light realm's sacred lord level. The weak cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly needed Zhao Feng's help to take care of it. Then I'll stay in the Duke's palace for a while. Zhao Feng made up his mind. It might not be the best time for him to go to the Duanmu family. Zhao Feng had heard about the Duanmu family's situation before. It was one of the declining families of the 8 big families. If it continued to decline, the Duanmu family might be removed from the 8 big families. Zhao Feng didn't worry. If he went there now, he would bring danger to the Duanmu family. An hour later, Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng arrived at the Duke's palace together. Greetings, Lord Duke. The two walked side by side in the palace, and greetings could be heard from time to time. Zhao Feng was used to this. A while later, Duke Nanfeng brought Zhao Feng to a hidden hall and took out a transparent porcelain bottle. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was like a lifelike jade that lay quietly within the bottle. Its aura was weak, and it occasionally moved its wings. It was currently in deep sleep. Zhao Feng inspected it for a while. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was extremely weak this time, and its life force was extremely weak. If an ordinary beast tamer wanted to revive the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly, it would take several years at the very least, given that there was no limit to the resources in the manor. Meow meow. Zhao Feng swiped his arm, and the silver-gray little thieving cat appeared next to the bottle. Ding! Ding! The little thieving cat waved its paws and knocked on the bottle a few times. Hoo-pa! The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly shook its fat body and wings as it opened its emerald-like eyes. In a flash, a terrifying aura that originated from the ancient era caused countless beings within a radius of 1,000 miles to instinctively tremble with unease in their bodies and bloodlines. Even someone as strong as Zhao Feng felt a lot of pressure. Once this cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly recovered to its peak, it would have battle power close to a mystic light realm sacred lord. It could be said that this cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was Duke Nanfeng's right-hand man. No wonder Duke Nanfeng needed to revive it as soon as possible. Once Duke Nanfeng became a sacred lord, with the help of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, his strength would increase by several times, and he would have a lot of power in the Great Gon Lord dynasty. If Duke doesn't need to worry, then leave this Saint Butterfly to me. Zhao Feng said straightforwardly. Okay. Duke Nanfeng looked deeply at Zhao Feng. Under normal situations, he wouldn't be able to let someone else take care of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, but this youth in front of him was an exception. However, this young man before them was an exception. He seemed to have some sort of calming and convincing power. Thank you for your trust, Duke. Zhao Feng gave a faint smile as he put the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly into the misty spatial world. Meow. The little thieving cat also entered with him. Zhao Feng gave the little thieving cat the task of taking care of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Later that night, within Duke Nanfeng's underground palace in the Duke's palace, reporting to Duke, we found news regarding the left-eyed heavenly emperor in the Tsang Ocean. A king in black half knelt on the ground. His eyes were filled with shock, and his voice wasn't normal. Chapter 883. Far away in the center of the continent zone, in the royal family of the Great Gan dynasty, the majestic buildings were enveloped in the vast fortune of the dynasty. Within a side hall of one of the residences, Shua, a muscular youth with thick eyebrows floated into the side hall with an urgent expression. Luo Zun, what news do you have? The eighth prince sat in front of a table, and the faint undulation of true yuan from his body had reached the level of a peak-tier king. 2 months had passed since the end of the divine illusion dimension. During the battle in Xiayang Palace, the 3 princes teamed up and obtained a lot. They were also one of the winners. Luo Zun, one of the 8th prince's subordinates, obtained a spot in the divine illusion dimension, and his performance wasn't bad. 8th prince, according to the information from the Imperial Sky Net, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon has indeed entered the continent zone. However, several demigods from the Grand Imperial Hall and Sky Suspension Palace are trying to chase after it and seal it. Luo Zun said in one breath. If this news were to spread to the outside world, it would definitely shock the world. Even if the sky falls, there's someone tall enough to hold it up. We don't need to worry about the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. What about the purple-haired demonic duo? The 8th prince had a calm expression. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and demigods were too far away for him. He would be scared and uneasy of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon in Xiayang Palace. However, this was the continent zone, and there were many experts here. There would obviously be people who could take care of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. On the other hand, the purple-haired demonic duo was the biggest winner in Xiayang Palace, so many forces paid attention to them. I found out everything about the purple-haired demonic duo, Zhao Feng, and Nan Gongsheng. Luo Zun took a deep breath. In the royal family, he was not only the 8th prince's trusted aide and right-hand man, but the 2 of them were also close friends in private. Oh. The 8th prince revealed a look of interest. The purple-haired demonic duo was extremely strong, and Zhao Feng was the biggest mystery. The 8th prince couldn't see through him and even lost to him. Firstly, Zhao Feng and Nan Gongsheng both come from the true martial sacred land of the distant Tsang Ocean. They come from the 3-star mystic true sacred clan. Luo Zun paused for a moment. The ash-gray sea. True martial holy land. The 8th prince's eyebrows furrowed slightly. The Great Gan Imperials didn't have as much control over their territories as before. This was especially so for the Tsang Ocean, where the Great Qian dynasty could not reach. Currently, the greatest danger facing the Great Gan Imperials was the Dark Moon dynasty in the northwest. They might not even be able to handle it. Moreover, any 3-star sect in the world was not to be trifled with. Nan Gongsheng was once the head disciple of the mystic true sacred clan. However, this Zhao Feng is the disciple of Duanmu Qing of the Duanmu clan. Luo Zun continued. That doesn't seem strange at all. With their strength, it's only natural for them to be the disciples of the great emperor. The 8th prince said. No. Luo Zun immediately shook his head. The point is that this Zhao Feng is the famous left-eyed heavenly lord. His name hasn't spread to the continent zone yet, but you should know about his nemesis, the Emperor of Death. Emperor of Death. The 8th prince fell into a brief recollection, and his expression suddenly became serious. He seemed to remember something about the Emperor of Death. The Emperor of Death who has the Eye of Death. Several thousand years ago, this person entered the continent zone and caused a storm of blood. Even some peak martial monarchs have been defeated by him. Qin Mu shook his head. The 8th prince's expression became solemn. Under normal circumstances, mystic light realm's sacred lords didn't care about the world. One could easily imagine how awe-inspiring the Death Emperor was when he entered the continent zone. He was invincible among the martial monarchs. Such a powerful existence is actually the nemesis of the left-eyed heavenly lord, Zhao Feng. The eighth prince found it hard to imagine that this immeasurable youth had hidden his strength so deeply. No. The Emperor of Death died at the hands of the left-eyed heavenly lord. Luo Zun added. Sii. The eighth prince instantly took in a cold breath. Didn't that mean that the left-eyed heavenly lord was unrivaled against anyone below sacred lords at his peak? He might even be able to threaten sacred lords. So, our opponent is this strong. Looks like the forces we have right now won't be able to threaten the purple-haired demonic duo. The eighth prince let out a long sigh after a while. In the continent dynasties, peak great emperors basically stood at the peak of power. As for mystic light realm sacred lords, they weren't people they could casually take action against since it affected the balance between the forces. Tianfeng Great Island Zone within the underground palace of the Duke's Palace, the Emperor of Death's era was ended by the left-eyed heavenly lord. Zhao Feng, your background isn't just an ordinary person's. Duke Nanfeng let out a long breath with shock on his face. Duke Nanfeng knew a bit about the Emperor of Death. In that era, Duke Nanfeng hadn't been born yet, and he had only heard about it from the elders of his family. Duke Nanfeng thought back and suddenly thought of something. That's right, several thousand years ago, there seemed to be another powerful bloodline inheritance that appeared with the Emperor of Death. Duke Nanfeng asked. Yes, Your Highness. The king in black said respectfully, the other one was the Eyes of Samsara. That's right, the Eyes of Samsara. Back then, the Emperor of Death entered the continent zone and attracted the interest of the owner of the Eyes of Samsara. In the end, the Emperor of Death stopped here and retreated back to the Tsang Ocean. Duke Nanfeng remembered a legend from a long time ago. It could be said that was a battle between the Eyes of Samsara and the Eyes of Death. No one knew the process of that battle. However, after that, the Emperor of Death retreated back to the Tsang Ocean and never appeared in the continent zone again. Whether or not the owner of the Eyes of Samsara was in the continent zone was also a mystery. Left-eyed heavenly lord. Duke Nanfeng couldn't help but murmur, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline seems to be extremely mysterious and powerful. Could he be a descendant of a god eye to be able to defeat the Emperor of Death, who has the Eyes of Death? The 8 great god eyes were the peak of eye bloodlines in the world, and they were called the 8 great ancestors. In the current era, the descendants of the 8 great god eyes had the strongest eye bloodlines. Duke Nanfeng couldn't help but look forward to it. Would Zhao Feng's existence attract the interest of the owner of the Eyes of Samsara and make him appear again? The next day, within an elegant building in the Duke's Palace, Brother Zhao, why didn't you come and play with me after coming to the Duke's Palace? An elegant and beautiful girl pouted and tugged on Zhao Feng's sleeve, seemingly unwilling to let him go. Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged and couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly as he looked at Princess Yuqing. Princess Yuqing was filled with admiration for Zhao Feng, a young beast tamer with mysterious abilities. She even had an indescribable feeling for him. Brother Zhao, what did you experience in the divine illusion dimension? Father didn't even let me go into play. That's right. Father gave the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly to you for safekeeping. It's rare to see Father trust an outsider so much. Princess Yuqing asked all sorts of questions and chattered non-stop. At this moment, a dignified voice came out of nowhere. Yuqing, stop messing around. Duke Nanfeng appeared with a majestic magnificent power and the power of providence. Princess Yuqing jumped up in fright. Her father had always loved her and rarely scolded her so harshly. Zhao Feng, Yuqing is a little girl and doesn't know much. I hope I didn't disturb you too much. Duke Nanfeng smiled faintly, but he was sweating in his heart. Thinking about how even the powerful Emperor of Death was killed by Zhao Feng, he felt respect and caution toward this youth. Yuqing is just too innocent. Duke, don't blame her. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He could faintly feel that Duke Nanfeng's attitude towards him had become a little more cautious. Zhao Feng, I'm going into seclusion to try and break through to the mystic light realm. I hope that you can take good care of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly in the next few months. If you can also take care of the palace, that would be for the best. Duke Nanfeng said in a solemn tone. In reality, before Duke Nanfeng went into seclusion, he invited a few emperors to the Duke's palace. One of them was a peak emperor, and they were all trustworthy. Duke Nanfeng only mentioned it because he thought about Zhao Feng's identity as the left-eyed heavenly emperor. Since I'm in the mansion, I naturally have this responsibility. Zhao Feng paused for a moment before nodding his head. As long as he stayed in the Duke's palace, normal forces wouldn't dare to do anything to him in the open. From a certain perspective, he was also protected by the Duke's palace. After that, Duke Nanfeng then introduced Zhao Feng to the emperors in the Duke's palace. However, these emperors didn't know much about Zhao Feng, so they didn't put him to heart. Before entering seclusion, Duke Nanfeng warned Princess Yuqing not to disturb Zhao Feng. Yuqing, I know you like Zhao Feng. However, the two of you can't be together. Duke Nanfeng said harshly. Princess Yuqing cried and went to her mother to complain, but the answer she got was the same. At her age, it was normal for her to be confused and idolized for a moment. Several days later, Duke Nanfeng prepared everything and entered life and death seclusion. Zhao Feng found that the entire Duke's palace didn't have any contact with the outside world, and the atmosphere was extremely quiet. It was said that Princess Yuqing was forbidden from leaving. Zhao Feng could finally cultivate in peace and manage some of his own matters. Shua. Zhao Feng's consciousness entered the misty spatial world. The little thieving cat took care of many things in the misty spatial world's little world. Most of the resources and treasures he had obtained from the divine illusion dimension and Xiaoyang Palace were planted in the misty spatial world. Zhao Feng first checked the situation of the 5 poison distinct bees. Over the past 2 months, the 5 poison distinct bees had grown rapidly with the help of the large amounts of flowers and herbs. Originally, the 5 poison distinct bees that Zhao Feng had enslaved included 3 bee kings, 100 elite bees, and a few hundred that were at least at the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. But now one of the 3 bee kings had become an emperor. The remaining elite bees were comparable to half-step kings, and more than a dozen of them had become bee kings. One had to know, the 5 poison distinct bees had the ability to kill enemies stronger than them and take them down with them. If the king wasps launched a suicidal attack, it was very likely that they would die together with an emperor. As for the rest of the ordinary venomous bees, half of them had advanced to elite venomous bees. Very good, all the bees will become elite bees in less than half a year. At that time, there will be even more bee kings and bee emperors. Zhao Feng was satisfied. He had a large amount of resources, which was why he could increase the strength of the 5 poison distinct bees in such a short amount of time. If he was willing, Zhao Feng could also create his own force. Everything depended on whether he was willing or not and whether he had the time. Now that Zhao Feng had returned from the divine illusion dimension, there were too many things that he could improve in. Chapter 884. Within the misty spatial world, within the mountains and rivers, Zhao Feng checked on the growth of the 5 poison distinct bees and then the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was only the size of a thumb when it wasn't in battle. It was even smaller than the little thieving cat and was similar to the 5 poison distinct bees. However, Zhao Feng didn't dare to underestimate this butterfly at all. If it recovered to its peak state, the battle power and support of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly would be enough to cause trouble for mystic light realm's sacred lords. At this moment in time, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had just entered the misty spatial world, and its life force was extremely weak. It got along well with the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat had a unique talent. It seemed to have an incredible affinity with most lifeforms, including those with bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was no exception. It could communicate with the little thieving cat without any problems, and it would occasionally open its emerald eyes with surprise. Zhao Feng had his own thoughts on how to recover the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Firstly, the dew from the ancient dream realm seemed to have a natural effect on the races with bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races. Secondly, there was the essence of life, including the pollen and honey that the 5 poison distinct bees had gathered. Zhao Feng also symbolically gave some 100 origin honey to mix. Zhao Feng didn't plan on taking out the higher tier 100 origin sacred honey yet. He hadn't even used it yet. If I give the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly a portion of 100 origin sacred honey, it might be able to become a mystic light realm sacred lord. At that time, Duke Nanfeng will be able to look down on the Lord dynasty with this help. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. However, he couldn't do this easily. Firstly, this was far more than what Duke Nanfeng had promised. Secondly, he hadn't known Duke Nanfeng for long, and their relationship hadn't reached the point where he could trust him completely. The situation in the Great Gan Lord dynasty was extremely complicated. It was hard to say whether Zhao Feng and Duke Nanfeng would be friends or enemies in the future. Therefore, what Zhao Feng had to do was fulfill his promise and the terms of the reward, so that the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly could fully recover in a short time. As long as Duke Nanfeng could break through to the mystic light realm, he would definitely have a place in the Great Gan Lord dynasty with the help of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. An hour later. In an elegant loft in the Duke's mansion. Zhao Feng withdrew his thoughts, closed his eyes, and began to meditate. Because his sacred lightning body and wind lightning technique had just broken through not long ago, Zhao Feng needed to consolidate them. Moreover, the Golden Kun sacred lightning body and the 5 elemental wind lightning technique had some decent secret techniques, but Zhao Feng hadn't finished cultivating them yet. The enhancement of physique and cultivation were all part of one's basic strength. In order to unleash the power of the cultivation method, some secret arts and battle skills were indispensable. Among them, after reaching the 5th level of the Golden Kun sacred lightning body, there were secret techniques such as the Sacred Lightning Dominating Fist, the Undying Sacred Lightning Body, and the Sacred Lightning Protection that could be cultivated. Holy Lightning Dominating Fist, an attack-type battle skill that can be cultivated at the 4th level. However, Zhao Feng didn't have much time in the Divine Illusion dimension, so he didn't have the time to cultivate many of these secret techniques. Undying Sacred Lightning Body. Once the Sacred Lightning Body reaches a certain level, one can cultivate an undying body. It needs to be cultivated over a long period of time, and it's hard to form quickly. For example, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had an undying body and could ignore normal damage. Only existences with strong bodies and undying bodies were hard to kill with the current power in heaven and earth, which was why they were sealed. According to what Zhao Feng knew, after reaching the 6th level of the Sacred Lightning Body, one could even cultivate the rebirth from blood drop. However, Zhao Feng didn't have a technique to go with it, but Demigod Kuan Yun did. Sacred Lightning Protection, a protective secret technique created by the Wind Lightning Technique and the Sacred Lightning Body. Its defense is extremely strong, and it has a strong resistance against Yuan Qi attacks. Zhao Feng estimated that if he could cultivate the Sacred Lightning Protection, he would be able to completely ignore attacks from anyone below the level of a Sacred Lord. Even Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords wouldn't be able to kill him in a short amount of time. I should focus on cultivating the Sacred Lightning Dominating Fist and the Sacred Lightning Protection to increase my offense and defense. As for the Undying Sacred Lightning Body, I won't be able to cultivate it in a short amount of time. Zhao Feng made a decision in his heart. Of course, these secret arts and battle skills were just the more representative ones. There were many other abilities and methods in these 2 secret arts. Zhao Feng focused on the secret techniques related to the sacred lightning body. As for the secret techniques within the wind lightning technique, Zhao Feng had cultivated the wind lightning inheritance to a very high level, so he could use some of them without spending too much time on them. In the blink of an eye, more than half a month passed. Zhao Feng had basically comprehended and cultivated the sacred lightning dominating fist and the sacred lightning protection. Among them, the holy lightning protection was relatively simple. It merged the power of wind and lightning with the physical force of the holy lightning, forming a powerful protective lightning shield around the body. When an ancient barrier of lightning suddenly formed around Zhao Feng's body. Golden lightning flashed as the sound of wind lightning boomed. This sacred lightning barrier wasn't a normal true Yuan defensive technique. It combined the sacred lightning physical force, which was even more domineering, and could reflect all sorts of attacks. If normal void god realms were to attack Zhao Feng's sacred lightning protection, they would probably vomit blood and be severely injured. Its defense is very strong, but I can't test it out right now. The sacred lightning protection that covered Zhao Feng's body looked like a crystal-like armor of lightning, and it formed an all-encompassing defense. Then, Zhao Feng started to practice the sacred lightning dominating fist. In reality, Zhao Feng had seen the child demigod use this fist before, and its intent was extremely profound. Although Zhao Feng's intent wasn't bad, the difference between him and a demigod wasn't small. Therefore, he needed to comprehend this fist technique and circulate the 10,000 divine thoughts technique to simulate it in his mind. Luckily, Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye specialized in comprehension and analysis. Within the Duke's palace, Zhao Feng cultivated. Most of the time, the 10,000 divine thoughts technique split his thoughts into several parts. Zhao Feng spent more than a month on secret techniques. Then, his thoughts were once again focused on his cultivation and his soul. Within the dimension of his left eye, a black head floated at the edge of the purple soul sea, and faint lightning flashed on its surface. This god's tribulation head had been cultivated from his previous life until now. Now, Zhao Feng's emperor intent had mostly recovered, and he started to absorb the power of god tribulation lightning from the god's tribulation head again. Unknowingly, the aura of god tribulation lightning from the god's tribulation head started to decrease. I've already absorbed 30 to 40% of the power of god tribulation lightning from the god's tribulation head. There's still 50 to 60% left, but it won't last long. Zhao Feng thought. In order to comprehend the power of god tribulation lightning, it wasn't enough with just the power of god tribulation lightning from the god's tribulation head. On one hand, he needed Zhao Feng to comprehend it, and on the other hand, he needed to find another vessel for the god tribulation lightning. Whoosh! Some particles of the power of god tribulation lightning merged into the purple soul sea and were absorbed by it. Zhao Feng's 10,000 divine thoughts technique split off a part of his intent to absorb the power of god tribulation lightning and use it to refine his soul. At this moment, Zhao Feng's soul hadn't reached the void god realm yet, and it was lagging behind the recovery of his emperor intent. On the other hand, his emperor intent had almost recovered to the peak of his previous life after being cleansed by the god tribulation lightning. The amount of god tribulation lightning I've absorbed now exceeds that of my previous life. As long as my soul completely recovers, my overall strength will surpass that of my previous life. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he was full of expectation. Unfortunately, the amount of soul Dao treasures he had was limited. More than half of the power of Yin in the soul-suppressing stone had been refined. As Zhao Feng's emperor intent recovered, the power of Yin in the soul-suppressing stone was also used up. Of course. The soul-suppressing stone was a soul Dao item that could store all kinds of soul intent, and it could even be used to suppress powerful ghosts and gods. Half a month later, all the soul Dao treasures in Zhao Feng's misty spatial world had been used up. Most of them were just there to make up the numbers. Finally, Zhao Feng's soul had barely recovered to the level of an emperor. Within the dimension of his left eye, Zhao Feng's purple soul sea was around 800 to 900 yards wide. Although it wasn't as big as 1,000 yards in his previous life, it was slightly more condensed, and it had absorbed more God tribulation lightning. Hu Xiaofeng let out a breath and murmured, "I've finally recovered most of my strength from my previous life." At this moment in time, although his cultivation wasn't as strong as the middle stage of the void god realm in his previous life, and the level of his soul was also slightly weaker, his overall strength had recovered. After all, Zhao Feng had cultivated the sacred lightning body, so his life force and body were extremely strong. Although his Blood Devil Sun bloodline's defense wasn't as strong as the Mystic Ice-scaled race's bloodline, its explosiveness was stronger. All in all, Zhao Feng had recovered the strength of the left-eyed Heavenly Emperor at his peak. With this strength, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the Lord Dynasty as long as he didn't offend any forbidden existences. In the Duke's mansion, inside a secret training room in an elegant pavilion, Zhao Feng spent most of his time cultivating the wind lightning technique and refining his sacred lightning body. Crack! At a certain moment, the crystal core in Zhao Feng's hand turned into a pile of dust. The King Wind Lightning crystal core that he had obtained from the Divine Illusion dimension had reached its end. Although the essence of wind lightning contained within the crystal core was even stronger than normal domain-level kings, it had to be refined repeatedly, so only a portion of it was absorbed. Zhao Feng's expression was the same as before as he continued to cultivate. Right now, the 7th level of the wind lightning technique was the wood of wind lightning. He had an ocean of wood-type resources. He also had some other resources that focused on the Tao of lightning. With the large amount of resources and the height of his emperor intent, Zhao Feng's cultivation speed was shocking. Late at night on this day, shua, shua, shua. Several figures with hidden auras appeared in the night outside the Duke's palace. I didn't think that Zhao Feng would have the battle power of a peak emperor, and he had reincarnated into this body. He's currently in the Duke's palace. Even if we have a chance of winning, we can't take action in the open. We can only plot in the dark. One could faintly see 4 males and 1 female in the night. The auras of these 4 males and 1 female were dim, as if they had turned into dim moonlight and merged into the night. It was impossible to detect them unless one was extremely close. The divine senses of several kings and emperors within the Duke's palace occasionally scanned over the area, but they didn't find anything. Chapter 885. There were 4 males and 1 female. Their auras were immeasurable, and they seemed to become a part of the night with a faint layer of moonlight around them. The source of the moonlight came from a female in dark green robes who was as calm as the moon. The woman in the dark green robe had a tranquil aura like a moonlit night. Her pretty face was cold and dignified. Compared to the demonic aura that faintly rose from the other 4 men, it was a little out of place. However, the leader of the 5 was a tall male wearing purple and black armor. His eyes were like a dark hole, and although he was purposely trying to hide it, black flames still appeared on his body. 9 Darkness Palace sent out 4 peak emperors to kill Zhao Feng. This demonic emperor Xian Luo is unrivaled amongst emperors and has fought against a sacred lord before. The woman in the dark green robe had a stern expression on her face. She was wary of the purple and black armored demonic emperor Xian Luo. On top of that, all 4 of them were peak emperors. By Qingyue. The black flames on demonic emperor Xian Luo's body flashed as his eyes locked onto the female in dark green robes. "Protector, what are your orders?" The female in dark green robes bowed slightly and maintained a respectful expression. "Being the leader of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion, you have information on the ocean and should know more about the Tianfeng Great Island Zone and the Duke's Palace than we do." Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's voice seemed to come from a bottomless abyss. The female in dark green robes organized her thoughts and replied, "Duke Nanfeng is currently in life and death seclusion in the Duke's Palace to break through to the mystic light realm. There are 3 emperors in the palace, and one of them is a peak emperor. They are all trusted subordinates of Duke Nanfeng. Our target has the strength of a peak emperor, and his speed is even faster than a peak emperor. Not bad, not bad. The other 3 peak emperors were an elder with a purple face, a middle-aged man with a black face, and a youth in black armor. They were very satisfied with this information. The 9 Darkness Palace that the 4 emperors were in was extremely far away from the ocean, and they weren't familiar with the place. Luckily, being the leader of a peak 3-star demonic Tao force, 9 Darkness Palace also had subordinates around the ocean. This subordinate force was the Ocean Smoke Pavilion that the black-robed woman, Bai Qingyue, was from. Then, when do you think is the best time for us to strike, and what are our chances of winning? Emperor Xian Luo seemed to be testing Bai Qingyue's loyalty. A trace of mockery and greed flashed through his eyes as he examined her calm and dignified face. Bai Qingyue felt very uncomfortable under his gaze, and her body went cold. She was a top great emperor lurking around the coast of the continent, but she felt a heavy pressure from Emperor Xian Luo. This pressure was close to that of a mystic light realm's sacred lord. The only person we have to worry about in the Duke's palace is Duke Nanfeng. He's in seclusion right now, so it's the best time to attack. As long as we ambush or encircle Zhao Feng and prevent him from escaping, we have at least a 90% chance of capturing and killing him. After all, the left-eyed Heavenly Lord has just leveled up to the empty God realm and has yet to recover his peak strength. Bai Qingyue did not dare to delay and quickly analyzed. Her analysis was based on the large amount of information related to the Duke's mansion, so it was not wrong in terms of common sense. That's about right. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo took back his gaze and said emotionlessly, but right now isn't the best time to strike. What we're worried about isn't Duke Nanfeng but the Great Gan Imperials. More specifically, the Grand Imperial Hall. Hearing that, Bai Qingyue was slightly surprised. Right now wasn't the best time to strike. Did they have to wait until Duke Nanfeng reached the mystic light realm? She obviously knew about the Grand Imperial Hall. It was a force that stood behind the Great Gan Imperials and was comparable to a 4-star power. Apparently, the members of the Grand Imperial Hall all came from the Great Gan Imperials, and most of them were past emperors. Although the Grand Imperial Hall didn't have many members, the core of the organization was at least a mystic light realm sacred lord. I've tried to break through to the mystic light realm as well. From his aura, I can tell that Duke Nanfeng hasn't reached the final stage yet. Although he's in seclusion right now, he can come out anytime if he's disturbed. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's voice made Bai Qingyue's heart go cold. Bai Qingyue's expression changed. She forgot that demonic Emperor Xian Luo was an unrivaled existence amongst emperors and had broken through to the mystic light realm many times. Emperor Xian Luo might be even more familiar with the steps to break through to the mystic light realm than Duke Nanfeng. The best time is when Duke Nanfeng is about to break through. At that time, even if he knows that we're attacking Zhao Feng, he can't retreat or else he'll be severely injured. He'll be in a dilemma. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo laughed coldly. Hearing that, the other peak emperors of 9 Darkness Palace couldn't help but laugh wickedly. So that's how it is. Bai Qingyue nodded her head. If they attacked now, Duke Nanfeng might still stop them. After all, 9 Darkness Palace didn't dare to attack an important member of the Great Gan Imperials. Furthermore, Duke Nanfeng was strong, had the providence of the Lord Dynasty, and had the awakened cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. We just need to wait for half a month. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo raised his hand, and the group of 5 quickly disappeared into the depths of the night and increased the distance between them and the Duke's palace. Within the Duke's palace, the several emperors didn't notice anything. Duke Nanfeng was in seclusion, so his sense of the outside world was much lower. Within an elegant secret cultivation room within the Duke's palace, all of Zhao Feng's attention was focused on cultivating, so he didn't know anything about the outside world. Shua! Shua! Zhao Feng flipped his hand, and some wood elemental resources appeared in front of him. He had a lot of them. As for the wind and lightning elemental resources, he didn't have much. However, Zhao Feng's emperor intent contained the laws of wind and lightning, so he didn't slack off in his cultivation. Over the past few days, Zhao Feng continued to cultivate the wind-lightning technique. Because he had a large amount of wood elemental resources such as the 100 origin nectar and the green water sky lotus, Zhao Feng's wood elemental wind-lightning progressed rapidly. Furthermore, the water of wind-lightning within Zhao Feng's body could also turn into wisps of wood elemental wind-lightning. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng's wind-lightning technique had broken through to the late stages of the 7th level, and it was still continuing. The 5 elemental wind-lightning technique's power will be more apparent as I progress to the later stages. When I open up all 5 elements of wind-lightning, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, no one in the Lord Dynasty will be a match for me. Zhao Feng couldn't help but look forward. Because of the wind-lightning inheritance from his previous life, his wind-lightning technique's cultivation progressed by leaps and bounds, and there were basically no bottlenecks. Of course, the support of large amounts of resources was also an important reason. Time slowly passed by. Zhao Feng used the 10,000 divine thoughts technique to split his thoughts into 3 and increase his comprehension in 3 different areas. The first was used to absorb the God tribulation lightning and refine his soul. The second was to practice the wind-lightning technique and sacred lightning body's secret techniques in his mind. The third was to cultivate the 5 elemental wind-lightning technique in the physical dimension and increase his cultivation. In reality, there were too many things that Zhao Feng could improve in right now. Back in Xiaoyang Palace, he had obtained a large number of Xiaoyang techniques through junior martial brother Deng Chao of Sky Suspension Palace. A small number of these Xiaoyang techniques could be compared to the Golden Kun Sacred Lightning Body and the 5 Elemental Wind Lightning Technique. A small number of them were even slightly better than the Sacred Lightning Body and Wind Lightning Technique that Zhao Feng cultivated. These Xiaoyang books mainly focused on the wicked path, and although they weren't suitable for Zhao Feng, they increased his understanding of the world and his understanding of the world. If Zhao Feng could comprehend these Xiaoyang techniques, he could perfect and merge them into his own techniques in the future. He could even create his own techniques and secret techniques. However, right now, Zhao Feng needed to establish himself in the Great Gan Imperials and strengthen himself in other areas when he had free time in the future. In the blink of an eye, another half a month passed. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's soul had completely stabilized at the level of an emperor. It wasn't much different from his previous life. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's wind lightning technique was advancing at a godly speed, and his wood of wind lightning had almost reached the peak of the 7th level. His cultivation was just a sliver away from recovering to the middle stages of the void god realm in his previous life. However, after his sacred lightning body reached the late stages of the 5th level, his cultivation speed slowed down. Unless Zhao Feng was willing to use the 100 origin sacred honey, he wouldn't be able to increase his cultivation speed. I've been in the Duke's palace for more than 2 months now. Duke Nanfeng is almost at the final stage of breaking through to the mystic light realm. On this day, Zhao Feng suddenly opened his eyes. Before Duke Nanfeng went into seclusion, he had told him some things that were related to this. Since Zhao Feng was a guest at the Duke's palace, he was also one of the experts here, so he had to do his part. If Duke Nanfeng could break through to the mystic light realm, it would be more beneficial than harmful for Zhao Feng. This was because Zhao Feng was currently under the protection of the Duke's palace. Zhao Feng let out a long breath and split some of his attention from his cultivation state to observe the situation in the Duke's palace. At this moment in time, an invisible aura condensed in the air above the Duke's palace, and it made heaven and earth seem heavy and pressuring. The pressure from this aura started from the soul dimension, then started to affect the physical dimension. Finally, this aura passed through both the soul dimension and the physical dimension, and it seemed to be able to suppress everything. Zhao Feng felt that the yuan qi in heaven and earth had started to freeze, as if it was worshipping a saint. Even his wind lightning technique was greatly reduced. Zhao Feng had felt a similar aura from the Bee Queen in Xiayang Palace before. At a certain moment, when boom! Heaven and earth shook above where Duke Nanfeng was in seclusion, and a ball of purple and gold light formed. It lit up the sky and started to twist into a giant purple and gold whirlpool. The souls of countless experts within the Duke's palace shook, and their true yuan and blood started to churn. At this point in time, all the servants below the half-step void god realm had been moved away. Otherwise, just a wisp of this aura could accidentally kill those at the true spirit realm or origin core realm. Within a small forest dozens of miles away from the Duke's palace, the disturbance of mystic light sacred power has appeared so quickly. Duke Nanfeng's breakthrough is going much smoother than I imagined. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo was slightly dazed. A forbidden aura that could suppress everything in heaven and earth appeared from the center of the Duke's palace. At this moment in time, with the Duke's mansion as the center, all kinds of powers within thousands of miles, including all kinds of mental and illusory powers, were inexplicably suppressed. When the giant purple and gold whirlpool in the air above the Duke's palace was like a saint's light that caused the Yuan Qi in every direction to worship it. This is the best time. If we don't come out now, it'll be too late. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo revealed an urgent expression as he led the four peak emperors into the Duke's palace. Chapter 886. The twisting purple and gold whirlpool in the air above the Duke's palace released a holy light that lit up heaven and earth. The aura of a sacred lord that had almost reached the mystic light realm suppressed everything around the Duke's palace. The experts within the palace were unable to move due to the pressure. This suppression didn't just target the physical world, it also included intent, sword intent, and other illusory powers. In this situation, only a small number of void god realm kings and emperors could barely control their own power. Looks like Duke Nanfeng's attempt to break through to the mystic light realm is going very smoothly. Zhao Feng walked out of the building he was in. He needed to observe and comprehend the process of breaking through to the mystic light realm. In reality, Zhao Feng wasn't the only one with this mentality. Some of the experts within the palace also had this mentality. This was especially true for emperors, they needed this chance even more. At this moment, the three void god realm emperors within the Duke's palace also walked out. Duke Nanfeng was able to reach this step. The origin pollen of the cloud silkworm saint butterfly is very effective. If Duke Nanfeng can become a sacred lord, he will have a place in the Great Gon Lord dynasty, and his influence will increase dramatically. The three emperors consisted of 2 males and 1 female, and they all had smiles on their faces. One of them was a silver-haired elder, and his aura far surpassed normal emperors. He was a peak emperor. Before Duke Nanfeng went into seclusion, he had introduced these 3 emperors to Zhao Feng. However, these 3 emperors didn't put much importance on Zhao Feng, who had just become a void god realm king. What aura is that? The silver-haired elder among the 3 martial emperors suddenly sensed something and looked in a certain direction. Zhao Feng, who had just walked out of the building, also sensed something. Zhao Feng suddenly felt 4 or 5 hidden auras approach as he stood in the courtyard in front of the building. Although these auras were purposely hidden, their true bodies were too strong and fast, so they couldn't be completely hidden. Most importantly, Duke Nanfeng was at the final stage of breaking through, and some of the experts within the palace had come out. Whoosh! Whoosh! A total of 4 or 5 powerful auras had already leapt into the Duke's manor. Zhao Feng and the silver-haired elder quickly scanned over with their divine sense. Their expressions changed dramatically. 5 great emperors. They seemed to be peak great emperors. The silver-haired elder shuddered. Zhao Feng's left eye contracted as he inspected the appearances and auras of the 4 men and 1 woman. 5 peak great emperors. Zhao Feng was also shocked. Ordinary 3-star sects would find it difficult to send out such a powerful lineup at once. Lord Protector, the location of Zhao Feng's closed-door training have been determined. The black-robed woman who was as quiet as the moon said respectfully. Zhao Feng, Zhao Feng, you won't be able to escape today. Bai Qinyue sighed in her heart. Her powerful divine sense scanned the entire Duke's manor and locked onto Zhao Feng's location. While she was planning this, her intelligence agency had already found out the location of the Duke's manor and even bribed a spy to confirm where Zhao Feng was staying. That was correct. That was why 5 peak great emperors were able to quickly lock onto Zhao Feng after entering the Duke's manor. Surround and kill that brat. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's deep voice seemed to come from the depths of hell. Instantly, the 5 peak emperors released their powerful auras without holding anything back, and they surrounded the building Zhao Feng was in from different directions. Although the Duke's manor was big, peak great emperors could only cover a distance of a dozen steps. Zhao Feng was in the palace and had nowhere to hide. Stop them. The 3 Void God Realm Emperors within the Duke's manor roared in anger. The silver-haired elder reacted the fastest and led another male and female emperor over to save Zhao Feng. This was because Duke Nanfeng had told Zhao Feng to get to know these 3. Now that Zhao Feng was in trouble, they had to help Duke Nanfeng since they had a good relationship with him. Enemy attack. Everyone, be on guard. Protect His Highness and kill the enemy. The Void God Realm Kings within the Duke's manor also started to move. Luckily, the 5 peak great emperors weren't targeting Duke Nanfeng, who was in seclusion. Instead, they were targeting the guest of the Duke's manor. Apart from Duke Nanfeng and the little princess, kill everyone else within the Duke's manor. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo ordered coldly. As long as they didn't harm the important members of the Great Gone Imperials, killing Zhao Feng in front of everyone wouldn't cross the Imperials' bottom line. Just as they were about to, Demonic Emperor Xian Luo and the other 4 great emperors successfully surrounded Zhao Feng. Stay here. Right at this moment, the silver-haired elder led another male and female emperor over. These 3 emperors didn't need to defeat Demonic Emperor Xian Luo and the other 4 great emperors. All they needed to do was create an opening for Zhao Feng to escape. With Zhao Feng's speed, even 5 peak great emperors wouldn't be able to catch up to him if he flew at full speed. We can't leave an opening for Zhao Feng. Bai Qinyue's expression tightened. She knew Zhao Feng's strength like the back of her hand. Back then, the reason why Zhao Feng was able to slaughter the kings of Earth Spirit Hall was because of his speed and eye bloodline. If they wanted to kill Zhao Feng, they had to surround him so that he wouldn't be able to escape. In order to do that, they needed at least 4 peak great emperors to work together. Let me. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's expression darkened as he looked coldly at the silver-haired elder and the other 2 great emperors. Scorching demon giant spirit body. In that instant, Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's body was bathed in a layer of black flames, and his body started to expand at a shocking rate. He even started to turn illusory as he turned into a flaming demonic sovereign that radiated a magnificent power of the demonic Tao. Boom! Half of the Duke's palace shook and was covered in a layer of dark demonic flames. This was because Duke Nanfeng was in the final stages of breaking through, and his mystic light sacred power suppressed over half of his power. What? The expressions of the silver-haired elder and the other 2 great emperors changed dramatically. They trembled in front of the flaming demonic sovereign, and they felt a sense of helplessness, as if they were facing an ancient demonic sovereign. Fuck off. The flaming demonic sovereign that Demonic Emperor Xian Luo had turned into waved his hand, and a large flaming shadow swept across the silver-haired elder and the other 2 great emperors. Golden Yuan Sky Essence. The silver-haired elder at the front released a pillar of golden light that shot into the sky. It had a limitless power that seemed to be able to break through the 9 heavens. Next to him, the male and female great emperors also used their full strength in this moment of danger. However, when the shadow of the flaming hand arrived, the faces of the male and female great emperors went bright red, and they almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Crack! The pillar of golden light that the silver-haired elder unleashed was mercilessly torn apart, and the golden light around him dimmed by more than half as he was pushed back 100 yards. Arg! One of the beautiful female great emperors screamed as she was grabbed by the flaming hand. She was crushed into pieces and instantly turned to dust. Bam! The male great emperor wasn't a peak emperor, so he was sent flying by the flaming hand and spat out a mouthful of blood. In an instant. Of the 3 emperors, 1 was killed, 1 was severely injured, and 1 was lightly injured. Sii. The expressions of the other kings that wanted to join in changed dramatically, and they froze on the spot. Being a peak emperor, the silver-haired elder was on par with the golden-robed emperor Zhang Xiandong from the 10,000 sacred clan, and he was close to Duan Wuqing from the true martial sacred land. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo, it's you. The silver-haired elder wiped away the blood from his mouth as he retreated, and he was still in shock. His full-power attack just now was nothing in front of Demonic Emperor Xian Luo's sacred demon giant spirit body. Demonic Emperor Xian Luo was indeed worthy of being an unrivaled emperor. He had the ability to threaten mystic light realm's sacred lords. 5 peak emperors, and one of them is even slightly stronger than the Emperor of Death from back then. Zhao Feng couldn't contain the shock on his face as he stood in front of the building. The silver-haired elder's strength was close to his master, Duan Wuqing, from the true martial sacred land. In terms of strength, Demonic Emperor Xian Luo might be able to suppress the Emperor of Death in a head-on clash, but that was a matter of life and death. In a one-on-one situation, even if Zhao Feng fought against Demonic Emperor Xian Luo, the chances of him winning weren't high. Furthermore, there were 4 other peak emperors, and their combined strength would multiply the threat. Whoosh! 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 At the same time that Demonic Emperor Xian Luo attacked, Bai Qingyue and the other peak emperors had successfully surrounded Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. Your companion, Nan Gongsheng, slaughtered the elites of 9 Darkness Palace in Xiayang Palace. We'll hold you accountable today. Hehe, I want to see the strength of the left-eyed heavenly emperor of the Tsang Ocean. Apart from Bai Qingyue, there was a purple-faced elder, a black-faced middle-aged man, and a black-armored youth. These 3 were all peak emperors of 9 Darkness Palace. Adding on Bai Qingyue, the 4 peak emperors surrounded Zhao Feng. Take down this brat within 3 breaths. The burning demon giant spirit body that Demonic Emperor Xian Luo had turned into quickly closed in with a demonic aura that suppressed everyone present. The silver-haired elder and the other emperors within the Duke's palace had bitter expressions. They were powerless to change the current situation. Just Demonic Emperor Xian Luo alone was enough to slaughter all of them. Seeing Zhao Feng surrounded by 4 peak emperors, they could only mourn in their hearts. 3 breaths. Zhao Feng stood in place, neither advancing nor retreating. He coldly snorted, "Good. I'll make sure none of you return alive." The youth laughed coldly with a hint of mockery, which made the hearts of Bai Qingyue and the other 3 emperors shake. Bai Qingyue felt slightly uneasy. She had analyzed Zhao Feng's information and knew a bit about this youth, including his situation in the divine illusion dimension. The silver-haired elder and company in the distance were also surprised. If it was any other emperor, they wouldn't be able to turn the situation around. Kill. Don't try to act mysterious. The black-faced middle-aged man and the black-armored youth pounced toward Zhao Feng from the left and right. With my current strength, it's impossible for me to be surrounded by 4 peak emperors and an unrivaled emperor, but... Zhao Feng stood where he was with an abnormally calm expression. Only to see. He reached out his hand, and a small jade-like silkworm appeared. Its chubby body was only the size of a thumb, and it flapped its half-transparent wings. This was the cloud silkworm saint butterfly that had recovered most of its yuan qi. When the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly opened its mouth and spat out colorful silk that instantly pierced through the void and covered an area of a few thousand feet. Arg! What? The bodies of the two peak martial monarchs stiffened. They were the first to be entangled by the colorful silk. Cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. How can this Zhao Feng control the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly? Bai Qingyue and the purple-faced elder, two peak emperors, quickly dodged and retreated, but some of the silk still wrapped around their legs and slowed them down. Chapter 887. Whoosh 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 whoosh, the rainbow-colored silk that the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly spat out was gorgeous and dense. It shot out at a shocking speed, catching the two peak great emperors off guard. Not good. It's actually the cloud silkworm immortal silk. The dark-faced middle-aged man and the black-armored youth who had attacked were tied up by the endless strands of silk. The silk was extremely tough, and it had a strange stickiness that made it hard to get rid of. In the blink of an eye, the two great emperors were bound by the cloud silkworm immortal silk and turned into two colorful dumplings. Boom! Bai Qingyue and the purple-faced elder were also affected, but they were far away from each other. They unleashed their full true yuan and pushed aside some of the silk that was close to them. In fact, Zhao Feng didn't expect to be able to restrain four peak emperors at once. If he did, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's silk would be weakened. His first step was to capture the two peak emperors close to him. He had achieved his goal. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's attack power isn't strong, but its support ability is extremely powerful. After the successful ambush, Zhao Feng felt relieved. If he could make the two peak martial emperors lose their ability to fight, the pressure on him would decrease. This is a little troublesome. This kid can actually control the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly. The purple-faced elder's expression became serious as he retreated. It was also because the two of them hadn't attacked first that they hadn't been ambushed by the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly. If Bai Qingyue and the purple-faced elder were in their shoes, the result would not be any different. Don't worry. Bai Qingyuefeng's eyes landed on the two colorful dumplings that were struggling, and he said calmly, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly is only strong in support. It won't be able to kill two peak emperors in a short amount of time. As long as we put more pressure on Zhao Feng and the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, the two elders will be able to struggle free. Hearing this, the purple-faced old man heaved a sigh of relief. He took a closer look. The two colorful rice dumplings were surging with shocking energy, and the cloud silkworm immortal silk inside them was cracking. It was obvious that the two pinnacle martial monarchs had a chance to break free if they used their full strength. In less than a breath's time. Ka-chi-chi. There were cracks on the surface of the two colorful dumplings. The enraged roars of two peak martial emperors came from within. Go! The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's abilities aren't as strong as the rumors say and can threaten mystic light realm sacred lords. The purple-faced old man cried out in alarm and took the lead to attack Zhao Feng. As long as he exerted more pressure on Zhao Feng, the two peak martial monarchs would be able to break free. Bai Qingyue's eyebrows furrowed. She hesitated for a moment, but she had to follow. She felt that something was wrong. The speed at which the two peak martial emperors were struggling was faster than she had expected. According to the rumors, it should be very easy for the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly to trap a few great emperors. Apparently, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had once participated in killing a mystic light realm sacred Yao. Perhaps it was because this cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was still weak and couldn't unleash its full power. Ka-chi-chi. The two great sovereigns were about to break free from the colorful rice dumpling. Kill! At the same time, the purple-faced elder and Bai Qingyue charged toward Zhao Feng. In the distance, the silver-haired elder and the other experts from the Duke's palace felt their hearts rise to their throats. Everyone couldn't help but sigh. Even if Zhao Feng was able to control the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, it wasn't enough to fight against 5 peak emperors. Furthermore, demonic Emperor Xian Luo was about to arrive as well. At this critical moment, a solemn expression appeared on Zhao Feng's calm face. Success or failure will depend on this. Zhao Feng suddenly waved his hand, and the transparent wings of the cloud silkworm saint butterfly in front of him started to flutter. Those who paid attention would realize that the cloud silkworm saint butterfly didn't bother with the two peak emperors anymore. Zhao Feng didn't seem to have any intentions of killing the two peak emperors. Whoosh! At this moment, the cloud silkworm saint butterfly quickly fluttered its wings, and a wave of half-transparent pollen formed a whirlwind that swept across several hundred yards. Watch out! It's the cloud silkworm saint butterfly's dream pollen. Bai Qingyue was already slightly wary and puzzled as she advanced. When the colorful pollen whirlwind swept over, her heart jumped. The cloud silkworm saint butterfly's support wasn't limited to its silk. The pollen it released was even more unique. Whoosh! The purple-faced elder and Bai Qingyue were unable to dodge and were enveloped by the dream pollen whirlwind. Bai Qingyue's reaction was a bit faster, and a layer of crystal-like moonlight appeared around her body. It was like a natural barrier that blocked off her ears, nose, and other organs. However, even then, Bai Qingyue's body felt soft the instant the dream pollen swept over her, and she instinctively stopped moving forward. Bai Qingyue didn't know that her hesitation in stopping now had changed her fate. Not good. My true Yuan. The purple-faced elder was at the front and was hit by the dream pollen, and he had to face the core of the pollen. His body instantly became limp, and he started to lose control of his true Yuan and bloodline as panic appeared on his face. Being a peak emperor, he wouldn't be truly defeated even if he used his true Yuan secret technique, but his strength, especially his mobility, would drop by more than a level. The unique ability of this dream pollen can pass through both the physical and soul dimension. It's even effective against mystic light realm's sacred lords. Zhao Feng had a smile on his face as he nodded his head. Since he dared to fight against 5 peak kings, he obviously had something he could rely on. At this moment, the power of the dream pollen had caused the strength of the 2 peak emperors to drop by half a level and 1 level respectively. The purple-faced elder froze as cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He was trying his best to resist the power of the dream pollen and was unable to attack Zhao Feng. Crack! Crack! Right at this moment, cracks started to appear on the surface of the 2 colorful rice dumplings, and the heads of the 2 peak emperors could be seen. These 2 peak emperors were about to break free with their full power, and their expressions were green and filled with hatred. As soon as they broke free, they would attack Zhao Feng with all their might. Bai Qingyue and the purple-faced elder, who were affected by the dream pollen, saw a glimmer of hope in their eyes. Hee, the moment you break out of your cocoons will be the beginning of your new life. Zhao Feng laughed instead of being surprised. The youth's light laughter made Bai Qingyue's heart drop. From the beginning to the end, the purple-haired youth was calm and composed, standing at an unfathomable level. This was exactly what the report said about him. Shua! Weng Zhao Feng suddenly waved his hand, and the buzzing sound of honey sounded in his ears. That's... Bai Qingyue's heart shook as she saw a total of 8 colorful bees appear from Zhao Feng's arm. The aura from each bee was comparable to a king, and some were even comparable to a peak-tier king. A terrifying sense of danger was brewing within them. 5 poison bee kings. Watch out! Bai Qingyue seemed to recognize where these bees came from, and her heart went cold. Unfortunately, her warning was too late. The 2 peak emperors used all their strength and barely managed to break out of the multicolored rice dumpling. However, the moment they saw the light of day again was the end of their nightmare. Weng Shu, one of the peak emperors was pierced through the heart by 4 burning colorful bees. The 5 poison distinct bees weren't very strong, but their suicidal attacks used their lives and souls as the price, and they had the ability to kill those stronger than them. In theory, each of these bee kings had the ability to kill emperors. For safety, Zhao Feng used for Be Kings on each of the two peak emperors. He did it when they had just broken out of the multicolored cocoons and their defenses were limited. If it was too early, it wouldn't work. This was because the Cloud Silkworm Saint Silk's toughness and defense were very strong. Normal emperors would find it hard to break through. Shoo boom. Shoo boom. In that instant, the bodies of the two peak emperors exploded under the suicidal attacks of the 8 burning Be Kings. Their flesh and blood turned a sad, multicolored green. This scene stunned Bai Qingyue and the purple-faced elder. In just the blink of an eye, the two peak emperors had died under the attacks of the 8-5 poison Be Kings. This kind of death wasn't grand and spectacular, but rather a death that was caught off guard and inexplicable. The suicidal attacks of the 5 poison distinct bees are suitable for sneak attacks. If the target is on guard, the effect will be greatly reduced. Shock appeared in Zhao Feng's heart. The two that had died were both peak emperors. In a one-on-one situation, Zhao Feng would need close to 10 breaths to kill any one of them. Dream pollen. Not good. 5 poison distinct bees. Right at this moment, demonic Emperor Xian Luo, who had turned into a giant flaming figure, flew through the air. He had been a bit slower because he had to deal with the emperors from the Duke's palace. As he was rushing over, he saw the 2 emperors being tied up by the silk and by Qingyue and the other person being attacked by the dream pollen. When he arrived, the 2 peak emperors had already died under the suicidal attacks of the 5 poison distinct bees. All of this happened in just a few breaths. Furthermore, it wasn't over yet. The moment the 8-5 poison distinct bees completed their mission of mutual destruction, Zhao Feng also took action. Sacred lightning dominating body. Zhao Feng took a step forward, and his body became taller. He released a layer of golden blue lightning, and he looked like a small golden lightning giant. With just one step, Zhao Feng closed in on the purple-faced elder, who had become weak and whose battle power had decreased. Boom! The body of the late stages of the 5th level of the sacred lightning body was like a giant mountain that smashed onto the purple-faced elder's body. Wah! The purple-faced elder's weak body seemed to be hit by a giant hammer, and he instantly fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Under the influence of the dream pollen, his battle power had decreased by more than 1 level, and he couldn't circulate his true yuan and bloodline as he wished. Illusion Maze Domain. The instant Zhao Feng punched out, the Soul Dao domain made the purple-faced elder fall into despair. Stop! The giant flaming demonic sovereign that demonic Emperor Xian Luo had turned into was too late to stop Zhao Feng. Kaboom! Crack! Zhao Feng didn't stop at all, and he punched the purple-faced elder into pieces. The purple-faced elder didn't even have time to put up a proper defense due to the dream pollen and the illusion maze domain, and he was killed by Zhao Feng with one punch. Third slash. In just a few breaths, the 3rd peak emperor had died. Zhao Feng glanced at Bai Qingyue on the other side after killing the purple-faced elder. So, the 2 elders that were bound by the silk were just bait. Zhao Feng's goal was to kill all 4 of us in one fell swoop. Bai Qingyue took in a cold breath. Zhao Feng's first ambush and second ambush were all done to kill the 4 peak emperors that had arrived first. At this moment in time, Bai Qingyue's body went cold under Zhao Feng's gaze. She suddenly realized that she was also the target of Zhao Feng's second ambush. Could it be that Zhao Feng had forgotten about her? The answer was soon revealed. Meow. A silver-gray streak flashed behind Bai Qingyue the moment Zhao Feng finished killing. Shua. A dagger that was as dark as a shadow stabbed into Bai Qingyue's back, and blood splattered everywhere. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.